out of apartment 5B.
You're now tuned into the Apartment 5B podcast, where we chop it up about hip-hop, R&B, sports, love and life. Hosted by Kill.
What's good? You are tuned to Apartment 5B podcast hosted by your man Kill. I got my squad with me. In effect, I got my brother Rel out of Philadelphia, reminding everybody that the Eagles won the Super Bowl this year. What's going on, fam?
What's good? Happy to be here.
No doubt. We got my brother Veg out of BK. What's going on, fam?
Chilling, man. I ain't got no jokes today. I'm fresh out.
Hey, man. Hey, it is what it is, bro, man. We need the comedy relief. It'll come. I got my brother Vern out here out the ATL, man. What's going on, fam?
What's good, fellas? Glad to be back on set, man. Been a minute.
All right, no doubt. We got my man Eddie Kane coming in right at the last minute, right here. Trey Lee, what's going on, fam?
What's good with you? How y'all doing out there, man?
Yeah, he came in just perfect, like we was about to perform like the 5 heartbeats, man. You was out there gambling, man. Came in right in on time.
I'm glad Trey Lee is on. I got one that you can appreciate.
Oh my Lord.
And then we got family in the building tonight. These two dudes. When people talk about my low addiction, it gets started with Ziggy, it gets started with Grand Poobah, and it gets started with the Minion crew out of BK at Morgan State. I got my people Ski and Kamani. These are the dudes that made me fall in love in real time. Like, I see these niggas on the campus be like, God damn, low every day, everybody in the crew. And it was just like, yo, y'all was the niggas that almost got me get kicked out of school on some old side note, trying to keep up with y'all niggas. You know what I mean? Wow. So definitely shout out to y'all, man. Ski, what's good, bro?
I'm chilling, man. Just holding it down. Glad to be back on Apartment 5B.
You already know it's always an open seat for y'all. Kill Kamani, what's good, bro?
What's good? Chilling. Always an honor, yo. Always an honor.
All right. No doubt. We're going to jump right into it. Y'all know me this week. Look, the other day, JR had posted 2 albums. I'm not going to talk about them right now because we're going to get to them. But he posted 2 albums and he was like, yo, these are just iconic classic albums. And I was like, bro, I feel like calling these albums a classic is almost a disservice to what they are. You know what I mean? Like, they're above and beyond the classic. And I was like, bro, these are like cultural cornerstones. You know what I mean? And then I deleted the tweet immediately because niggas be shark biting. So I ain't want nobody to steal that shit. So, deleted that. But if anybody wants to use it, cultural cornerstone, give me my credit. Y'all can run with it, but give me your credit coming up with that. What's up, babe?
Kill already stole it. I did a show on it yesterday. I took the shit because I deleted it too late. It took me some time to get a joke together, but I got one.
Oh God, yeah, okay. Vegas at it. We back with the comedy now, but yeah. So that's what we're looking at. We're looking at 4 to 6 albums. I know I said 6, but I knew we was gonna have a packed house, so we may do 4 and come back for another show. But these are albums that just are beyond being a classic. These are albums that shifted the culture. I've got hip hop and R&B. If y'all have R&B, that's dope too. But these are just incredible albums that just, again, change. We could sit here and talk about how they changed the scope of things and everything like that. So I'm gonna set us off. The first joint I got right here, the debut album by Run DMC right here. We're gonna start with some of the history behind that. And the reason why I want, for people watching, one of the reasons I want us to break it down is because when I started this podcast 10 years ago, me and Ed would live from the writer's bench. It was for people our age to reminisce. Now, the blessing is through those 10 years, we have probably more younger viewers than we do have people our age. So I always want people to understand why these albums were so big and why they shifted the culture. Rel, here's a funny joke, and you'll appreciate this. Maybe you saw this on Twitter. This dude said that Lupe's Food and Liquor was the greatest debut album in hip-hop history. You know what I mean? And my reply was simply, I just named some albums like I think these albums right here may want a word in there. You know what I mean? And this was one of the albums I talked about. And he said, Run DMC, hell no. And that just lets me know two things. It lets me know that you're not very smart, and it also lets me know that you're a kid. You know what I mean? For people watching this, you may remember people my age at Thanksgiving dinner when I was growing up, I never sat with my mother or father. I always sat at the kids' table. You know what I mean? Because the older people wanted to talk, y'all talk that kid shit over there. And this is my fault because the dude did not tweet this at me. I just saw the tweet and then his reply. And I said, you know what, fam, that's my fault. I need to take my ass back to the adult table. I came over here to see what y'all kids was talking about. Y'all talking about Lupe got the greatest debut album ever. Let me go back to the adult table. So I'm not even mad at the board.
Yeah. One thing I learned off of Twitter, man, ain't no stand as unique as a Lupe stand, bro. I mean, for real, it's like, dude, they think he invented oxygen or something. So I just hide myself from the conversations.
I feel you, bro. I feel you. So we're gonna talk about this joint right here. Run DMC. This came out March 27th, 1984. Number one, this was the first hip hop video that premiered on MTV, which was Rockbox. So, and it was the first one to get in rotation. So again, I don't know if it was the first video ever played, but it was premiered on MTV, and this was the first hip hop video that stayed in rotation. 5 singles. You had Hollis Crew, Rockbox, It's Like That, Hard Times, and 30 Days. And here's the crazy part. And I'm going to talk about this a lot today, and I want to say this real quick because I don't want people talking about I'm moving the goalposts. I'm going to talk about record sales during this episode because I want people to understand that record sales in the 80s and the 90s prior to Bad Boy in like 94 really didn't, it equated great music, sold a lot of records. I feel like after 96, 97, good music didn't always equate to selling records. And then also I want people to understand that hip hop like this was not getting played, but so many places. So the reason I say this, because this went gold in 8 months. And in 1984, that's like unheard of. Like, you know what I mean? No real regular airplay. Even MTV airplay is not giving it to you like other artists who will be going gold. And keeping in mind, I didn't even know what gold was until 1989 when Parrish Smith said, and then 30 days later, the LP went gold. So what you saying? So we didn't even know what gold and platinum was back in these days. So to me, this is why this is a cultural cornerstone. And on the R&B front, I will go with one that JR was talking about, and it was Janet Jackson's Control album. To me, the thing about Janet's Control album was, number one, it was Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis's coming out party. Now, what I mean by that is, of course, they produced for the SOS band and other people, but to me, this album was like Pete Rock and CL's Mecca and the Soul Brother. Pete had been producing before Mecca and the Soul Brother. He did a couple of joints on Heavy D's second album. He was doing joints here and there, but once you heard Mecca and the Soul Brother, that album, people forget he had the all sold out EP. You know what I mean? A lot of people think that was his first thing. So, you know, but after that was like, okay, Pete. And then, so with this is that you got Jimmy Jam and Lewis coming out party. And people don't even realize this. This is Janet's third album. You know what I mean? I've heard some people say it was her second album. It's actually her third album. There's a lot of people who believe that this is her debut album. Now, you had the Janet Jackson album, and then you had Dream Street album. And I'm doing the homework. Some of these songs, Don't Stand Another Chance, Two to the Power, For the Love of Fast Girls. Like, I ain't never heard these songs a day in my life. You know what I mean? But then you come with Control and you talk about the singles. What have you done for me lately? Nasty, When I Think of You, Control, Let's Wait a While, The Pleasure Principle, Funny How Time Flies. I damn near just named the whole album. You know what I mean? For like 1 or 2 songs. And not to mention that at the end of the day, this album went on to sell 10 million copies, which is crazy. So those are the cultural cornerstones that I got right there. Anybody, any feedback with Run DMC or Janet's Control that y'all want to jump in on anything?
I had the Run DMC album on my list as well. And you know, these conversations are always interesting because if you didn't say, hey, these are parameters on what a Cornerstone album is. So then it becomes our own thought process on what we feel Cornerstone is. Is it Cornerstone just in my life, on how it impacted me in my life? Is it Cornerstone? I was taking it more as how it impacted the entire culture, the entire
how it
industry,
shifted the culture.
Right, the entire industry of rap music and hip hop culture and so on and so forth. And one of my things with Run DMC is, even though we are old enough, me, Sha, and Kill. I'm not sure how old you call him, Eddie Kane kind of thing. I'm not sure how old Trey Lee is.
Trey Lee.
I got y'all by a little bit. I got y'all by a little bit.
So we old enough to be a Curtis Blow fan. We old enough. For me and Kill's favorite dude, Kid Creole. You know what I'm saying? We old enough for yes,
Right.
y'all
Right.
to the beat, y'all.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
We
right.
old enough for that, but that's not really where. I don't think that's what captured us. You know what I mean? Sugar Hill Gang was the first rap record I ever heard. It caught me, but that's not where I'm captured to the culture itself. Run DMC had me in the back of the school bus every day, spitting sucker MC every single day, every word, and you better not trip a word up. And the other part is sucker MC. Run DMC feels like the bridge between the style of rapping from Curtis Blow, from the Furious Five and Melly Mel and them, and like and all of that, which that's all good. That built the foundation that we on, but it felt like they, between deciding not to wear the same clothes as Africa Bambaataa and that crew and the Zulu Nation,
Sonic Force,
right, and moving forward with still what some might consider elementary, but it was slick. It was more of a slick talking kind of rap, and I think I was attracted more to that. So to them, when I think old school, I go to them. Of course, there's people before that. Problems of the World Today. I forget what that group was. I had actual vinyl records in the old days from old stuff, but Run DMC was where it started. Like, okay, I am a fan of this music, and this is where I'm staying.
You know what, Ski? I'm glad you said that, because one of the points I didn't bring up was Run DMC changed the style of dress. You know what I mean? Like, they started looking like regular dudes who was on the corner. Like you said, you go to the Beach Street scene in the Roxy, these dudes dressing up like they about to get on a space shuttle. You know what I mean? So, and there's no disrespect to them, because that's how they dressed in those days. But Run DMC, with the Adidas, with the hats and everything like that, they kind of brought a different style to it. And then I also got to shout out Larry Smith, because I feel like he's a producer who does not get mentioned anywhere in this game. And between this and Houdini's Escape album, you're talking about some just incredible production. Shy, what's going on, bro?
I'm good, brother. I'm good. It's good to see you. Good to see y'all. Just busy living the athlete kid life, right? You know what I'm saying?
Bro,
So,
God bless y'all. God bless y'all. All you kids, all you people with multiple kids, God bless y'all. I don't know how you do it, but keep it moving. I just was talking to Trey this week. All I can say is God bless y'all, because I
8 days a week, man.
Hey, enjoy the ride, because when it's over, you're going to feel it.
I've been hearing that, so I'm trying to capture the moments mentally and just kind of spiritually. Yeah.
I can remember my daughter's last college basketball game. When the coach took her out, I sat in the stand and cried, because I went all the way back till she was 8. So enjoy the ride, bro.
Thank you.
No doubt. Well, what you got? What's your first cultural cornerstone, bro?
I'm gonna go with Illmatic. And I want to say, like, you know, some of y'all know, like, Nas my favorite artist, and you know, Illmatic's a classic. But you know, I want to say that a lot of underinformed people or people of a certain age kind of use this album as a crutch, and it kind of pissed me off a little bit, because it forced you to not say bad things about it, but kind of like let them know, like, yo, there was classic albums out before Illmatic. Like, you know what I'm saying? Some people like to use it as a crutch. But I will say, to me, it's a cornerstone for a number of reasons. Just the lyricism, the imagery being painted from his lyrics. Like, when you hear New York State of Mind, you can kind of like see what he's talking about. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not gonna say I hadn't heard that before, because I think Rakim did a good job of that. G-Rap did a good job of that as well. But in a time where hip hop was being dominated by the West Coast and things like that, this album was one of the albums that like kind of like brought us back on the East Coast. Like, yo, we here. You know, it was one of the first super producer albums. I don't think it was the very first, but it's one of the first. And it was, you know, just constructed so well, straight to the point. 9 songs and an intro, and classic. And when you think 5 mics, like this is one of the first albums that come to your mind when you think 5 mics in the source. You think Illmatic, and it was, you know, just crazy that he was so young, making this type of music and spitting these type of lyrics. So I got Illmatic as one of my cultural cornerstones.
All right. Now I'm probably just going out on a limb and assuming other people had Illmatic. So y'all had Illmatic too. Definitely jump in. Kamani, what you got to say about Illmatic, man?
That's not only is that to me one of the best rap albums I ever heard. For me, it's one of my top 3 albums of any genre. Like for me, the top 3 albums in my life are Illmatic, Purple Rain, and Joshua Tree by U2. Like that's where I put. To me, Illmatic is like something that should like be in a museum. Like it just and that actually touches kind of on one of the other albums that I had, which was Eric B. and Rakim's Paid in Full. And to me, Nas was like the rebirth, even though he was still here, the rebirth of Rakim and the rebirth of getting like when you heard Illmatic, you had to stop. If you was a rapper, you had to stop what you were doing and throw away your notebook and go write again some more. Like that's what he brought back to the game. You know what I'm saying? And it wasn't a lot of cats doing that. That's an album that takes you. If you listen to that album and you close your eyes, you are on that corner with them. The way that he just it was just artistry to me. It was just artistry. All the although I'm not necessarily a fan of the World Is Yours beat, not necessarily, but every beat, just every it's just mastery to me. There's no skips, there's no thinking about it. It's just, and I can listen to that now. If I had to take a trip if I had to take a 5-hour drive and only take one album, it'd be that. That's and then it just changed everything. It changed how other people in the culture had to spit their rhymes, you know, and it just brought and again, to Rose point, you know, the West Coast was dominating at that point. So to like, you know, him and Biggie, it took that to bring us back. You know what I mean?
Right.
But yeah, that's my feeling on that.
Right. Anybody else had Illmatic?
I purposely didn't put it on my list because I knew it was going to be on. Like
you knew that. You knew that.
Yeah.
A 10-second point real quick. I feel the same way about Illmatic as Kamani does, as Kill does, except as Brooklyn Kill does, except that I do like the beat to the beat that he don't like. But
yeah, I've never heard anybody say that the world is yours. They didn't like the beat. But I mean, like I always say on Twitter, everybody, we all hear things differently. You know what I mean? To me, it's never no answers. So
I'm one of the biggest Dead Presidents fan. Ho's first album that I know, but I don't even have it on my list because I don't. As much as I know it impacted me and some around me, I was trying to think of this list that if I went to a girl's house that really like R&B, has she ever heard Dead Presidents or has she ever heard Illmatic? Right. It's more likely she's heard Illmatic. You know what I mean? I feel like Illmatic had that much more of a wave than Dead Presidents did. And Dead Presidents, even with us, was a slow burn. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, and with Dead Presidents, because once again, I was never in that life, there's probably still 10 questions I got to ask Hov about some of them rhymes. Like, I don't know what that means. I don't know what you're doing. I don't know what you're doing. But I love it. You know what I mean? Whereas Nas is pretty much a regular dude. He's a regular dude from the projects, surrounded by craziness with a wild younger brother, and his brother be wilding. And we understand that, you know what I mean? So it's like I understood everything Nas said, and the picture as painted is perfect. As Nas said, I never argue with anybody about Dead Presidents versus Illmatic or Nas
Reasonable Doubt.
I never do that. I never argue Reasonable Doubt. I shrug my shoulders like that's fine. It's not a problem.
Right. I had Illmatic on mine. Same thing everybody said. I will say this, Rel, it was crazy. I remember being pissed that it only had 9 songs. You know what I mean? And it's just funny now that I'm older, I only want 10 songs. Like y'all know me, 12 songs is a tap. I don't want 24 songs no more. Too much room for mistakes. So it's just funny how at that time I'm like, man, 9 songs like an EP. Whereas now I'm old and I'm like, nah, that shit was perfect. Get in, get out. Right. You know what I mean? Hit repeat on it and everything like that. Veg, what you got for one of your first cultural cornerstones?
All right, I got 1990 LL Cool J, Mama Said Knock You Out.
Woo!
I think, well, y'all already know I think he'd go, but not because he said it either.
I'm right with you.
Okay, Trey. Okay.
I'm right with you. Kill know that.
Cereal.
Yeah. Kill know that.
Yeah. But one of the reasons why I feel like it's many of the reasons why I feel like it's a cornerstone is because I think at that point in hip hop, for one, we never seen somebody who looked like they were falling off and then make a comeback. There was no coming back at one point in hip hop. It was just like, well, when we done with you, we done with you, and that's it. And we can move on to the younger cats. So it was dope for him to do that, to get with Marley Marl. Obviously the hits, but the variety of looks he gave you, like milky cereal concepts. Like I didn't see concepts like that coming from LL. You know, I don't know why, but he kind of showed us. He showed us that there was another level for MCing and longevity at a high level, and to continue to have hits at that point in his career. I just think like it's so many songs and so many moments. The video was ill. It felt like he said, don't call it a comeback, but it felt like that. You know what I'm saying? And we were happy for it because, you know, we loved LL, but it was kind of like he forced the game to say that your favorite rappers aren't done until they're done. And I think now, you know, we champion Nas for what he did, which was incredible. Obviously the people like Too Short and E40 who've been doing this for years, but LL was doing it at such a high level that even when he looked like he was falling, he'd come back with an album that's like, yo, this album's crazy. And you know, again, I've made this argument about him as far as being the GOAT is you got LL had hits in so many different eras of hip hop that we always talk about. Like we can come up with any era, be like, yo, the Bad Boy era. He had hits during there. The Death Row era. He had hits during there. Run DMC era. Rakim era. You know, Eminem and 50 era. Like, he may not have had Mama Said Knock You Out albums every time, but I think he just showed how to stay hungry in the game for decades. And Mama Said Knock You Out was kind of that first part where he was able to come back and just say, you know, I'm not done. So I definitely think
I didn't have that on mine, but you know, I think it's a 5 mic classic. It's an incredible album. But I think what LL did was almost set the blueprint for how to make a dope album, because there were songs for everybody. Booming System is for the hood, Around the Way Girls for the girls, but it was still a banger that didn't make niggas not like it. You know what I mean? Right. Milky Cereal, we got the concept. You know, Illegal Search, we talking about, you know, the cop stuff. So it's like he touched on so many topics, and then they were also dope too. My favorite is Cheesy Rap Blues. I mean, it's just like, yo, you know, when this how people fuck with you when you got money, but then when you fall off, you don't have anything. You know, and it's almost like L knew it was the comeback. That's why I loved it. Don't call it a comeback, because the nigga knew he did with that Walking with a Panther shit. The same way Com knew he fucked up with that Electric Circus shit. Like, he knew, you know what I mean? And it's like, okay, boom. But like you said, it was so dope because it was like, don't call it a comeback, nigga. Like, I've done this. This is what I do. And I think Marley too, at that point, the Juice Crew had kind of, you know, fallen off. So now it was like, what's Marley gonna do? So it's just, I always say, you get two hungry people together who got something to prove, you're gonna get some amazing shit out of them people. You know, Trey, I see you about to say something.
Nah, I'm just saying, I'm like you, Vague, like, because LL is, and there's very few of these type of MCs. I say it all the time. LL is the blueprint for versatility. As far as an MC in hip hop, he could do it all. Whatever it is, you want a banger? Oh, he got plenty of those. You want a battle? Oh, you already know. You know what I'm saying? You know the machismo. You know what he's doing. You know what his track record speaks for itself. You know what I'm saying? You want a story. You want a, you know what I mean? You want a chick John. You want to, I mean, it's like he set the blueprint for the versatile MC. And there's not many of those walking this earth. There's people that have a specialty. You know, they do this thing very, very well, better than everybody else in the world. But you can count them on. I think you can count them on one hand, if that. Maybe 4 fingers that have the versatility that LL has. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Throughout the history of the culture.
Yeah, I mean, like I always tell people, I mean, I can't live without my radio. Was what, 85? I'm in 5th grade. I mean,
I Need a Beat was 84, bro.
Right. But
the album
84, and then Bigger and Deeper 85, 86. Right.
Yeah, but then you move to, so I'm in 5th grade. Now you just move fast forward. So I'm a sophomore at 889, and now I'm hearing them with Foxy Brown, Prodigy, Keith Murray, and he ain't lose a step. Like, I just need people who are watching to understand that. Like, 84, I'm in 5th grade, so now we're going to 94, 95, and now I'm in college, and this dude is still lyrically sharp, making music. The Lounging remix with Total, and that's what I loved about L, that he could make the songs for the chicks, but it never made a dude be like, nah, I ain't really feeling that. Like, that Lounging joint, Come On Now, is still crazy. So, Veg, I totally can definitely see that being a cornerstone joint. Ski, what you got, bro?
Oh, can I say something about? Yeah. So I had it on mine too. And one thing was just so crazy that 84 was his first John. I was like a baby. Like Love You Better was a hit. I was in college. Let that sink in. Let that sink in. I was in college. You know what I'm saying? So, and like Trey said and Vig said, like, the versatility, like, is the blueprint for it. Like, and that album, and that time I know, like, you can't be whack during that time. Like, so him being able to come back after being written off like that, we never really saw that before that. You know what I'm saying? So that album's a 5 mic classic. That was my first like hip hop hero was LL, and it's just crazy that just put an album out last year. Like it's just crazy that
that was dope lyrically. That was dope lyrically. I think Q-Tip dropped the ball on that album, but lyrically L was still there. L was still there on that album.
Just think about all his contemporaries. They're gone. All of his contemporaries are gone.
Yeah. So I want to make a quick point on L. I like him lyrically. He's never been like my serious cup of tea, but he as he's like the prototype superstar in hip hop. Yeah. You think about that, there were folks that have been risen to fame, but he manifested it from Beat Street, right? He manifested it, and you see people that Crush Group. Thank you, because I'm old. I be forgetting.
No,
a lot of sports. That's a lot of sports.
No more auditions. Yeah. No more auditions.
I tell you about 2-3 zone. Like, he has this certain way about him. Some people feel like it's just this hubris he has about him or whatever. But it's like he has manifested it, and even like in the movies and other stuff, like he is the prototypical superstar in hip hop. I can't think of anyone that there's actually more of a there was a star before him or in his earlier days that has remained in that same light. He believes in himself more than, like, we all love him. We think he's great. He believes in himself way more than we believe in him, and that has actually been his saving grace. So when he's like, don't call it a comeback, and when he's kind of dipping into like different eras, he believes that like I'm the best person here, and you can see that he really believes it. Whether he's the best or not, he believes it, and he's going to manifest it. And I think that he's looking like the Jays and others that'll come after that. He's the gold standard for that.
I wasn't the hugest LL fan, but I remember 86, 87. Shoot, it was Run DMC, it was Salt Pepper, Public Enemy, LL. That was when Bigger and Deffer came out. And he burned the stage down at the Omni, bro. And I was like, okay, that's what y'all talking about. So I got it after that. Yeah,
no doubt. Ski, what you got up, bro?
10 seconds still on L before I move on. Is only because I had him on my list. I had Big and Def on my list only because it is my belief that Rock the Bells was the first rap song with a remix. I believe so, and I always remember that. I believe that, and that is such a culture shift to me. I remember being in my Haitian father's car, and he let me turn the radio up because he saw me going crazy in the passenger seat. I don't know what you're listening to, but go ahead and turn it up. I was going crazy as they played that over and over. So that's my little L, my last L shot. On my list, there's a couple I want to get out, but I know it's a lot of us here. But I'm trying to choose between these two that I need to get out today. But I'm gonna go with this one since we're still in this era. Criminal Minded, Boogie Down Productions. I find it to be a culture shifter. Track for track, I don't know 4 other tracks on that album. I know South Bronx, I know The Bridge Is Over, and I know there's one more fire one. Criminal Minded, that's on there. Boom, there you go. But the way, even when the bass come on now, when Bridge Is Over comes on now, I might stand still just so I don't bug out. I might stand still just so like I don't jump around like when we was 19 or something, because it'll take me. And I think in 8th grade, so right before high school in 8th grade, I don't know what this dude was doing around my little private school, but it was a dude handing out business cards that said Boogie Down Productions on them. And he was like, yo, pay attention. These dudes coming out soon. It's going to be pretty serious. This is like 85, 86, or maybe South Bronx was getting ready to come out or something like that. But and the fact that Bridge Is Over, it had Queens in a mood for like till Nas came out. You know what I mean? Like Queens still had other fire, but like every now and again I'll listen to Nori talk about how he was, I think he was in juvie, he was locked up in juvie, and he said Queens was quiet inside. On the inside was quiet. And then it's a hard beat, and then the lyrics ain't intricate, but they hit so hard, talking about KRS-One and Bridge Is Over. He said, so like when finally some clean stuff was coming out, and then finally Nas came out, it's like, he said, we was outside, but all of a sudden everybody was outside. Like, don't play with Queens, and we're going to pay you back for this last 15 years that we was quiet. So Criminal Minded is a big culture shifter.
Yeah, no doubt.
Pardon me, on the R&B side, I'm going Mary J. Blige, My Life.
So
I don't even skip, when I put that in, I don't even skip nothing in there on my list. She don't remember making it because she was high, but My Life is amazing.
Yeah. Ski, you a goddamn fool. Real quick on Criminal Minded, I tell people all the time, I've probably played this album more than any other album of any genre of music. You know what I mean? So I played this. I mean, again, I was the biggest BDP fan. When Scott died, I thought hip hop died. Like, I dead ass was like, I don't know what was coming next, because this was it to me. Like, anything that they did was incredible. So yeah, definitely Cornerstone right there. Vern, which in My Life, I mean, it's really not, it's just My Life. Like, you know what I mean? For people watching, if you haven't heard it, just go listen to it, because it's, I don't even know. I mean, I remember hearing My Life for the first time. We had got the advance, and damn near like crying when I heard that song, the My Life joint with the Royer Summer. You know, I mean, that summertime. Y'all know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, sunshine.
Like, and I'm like, fuck, am I crying? Like, what the fuck is this? A tear coming down my eye? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it just was such a, and you felt it. Like, you felt Mary's pain through that album. You feel it. Again, it's just a mood. So if people haven't listened to it, please do. definitely a cornerstone. Vern, what you got up first, bro?
All right, I'm repping for my little brother JR today. So my first one, I was in the 10th grade. Keith Sweat, Make It Last Forever, bro.
Woo! That's one of mine right there, boy.
Hey, man.
I'm gonna strike that right now. Goodness gracious.
Hey, man.
Good one.
He sing the hell out that E note.
It's funny. It's funny that you say that. Keith Sweat wasn't the greatest singer. That's not a news flash. But man, what Teddy Riley did on that album, bruh.
Oh,
listen, man. Okay, I'm gonna run down the track list and then I'm gonna talk about it. Something Just Ain't Right. Right in the Wrong Way. I skipped over number 3. Tell me, is it me you want? I don't care about that, but I Wanna, Make It Last Forever.
Damn.
With the Rain. How Deep Is Your Love, and then Don't Stop Your Love.
Damn.
Don't stop your love, man.
Yeah, man. So 10th grade, I remember the school windows rattling when Nardi, Foot, and a whole bunch of D-boys would pull up to the school. Their trunks was rattling. I mean, with that boom, 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 boom. I never heard no love songs with 808 knock, bro.
word.
Yes, and so I'm going with Keith Sweat, Make It Last Forever, and then I'm gonna do another one for JR. Freshman year, Georgia State. What's the 411, man? That's like it was number one. It was ubiquitous. Hip hop heads loved it, and they girls loved it. So that is perfect marriage. I mean, it's you can just throw a tape on them, and nobody's gonna be mad. I mean, I could run down the track list, but we all know. No, man, it's something like a cultural shift and like an atom bomb drop, because it was the perfect marriage of hip hop, soul, and singing together. So that what's the 411 would be mine.
And they made a remix out.
There we go.
It may have actually been better than the original, which is kind of fucking crazy when you think about it. That was the other joint that JR had posted when I came up with this idea for the show. It's on my list. Vern, like you said, it brought us the queen of hip hop soul. First time I heard Real Love, it was almost like I remember thinking, yo, you could do that? Like, yo, she's singing over top billing. Like, that's allowed? Like, how are you singing over top billing? Like,
yeah, man.
The singles, you know, you remind me. Yeah, like it was a Ron G tape. Yeah. The singles where You Remind Me, Real Love, Reminisce, Sweet Thing, and Love No Limit. Went to go on to sell 3.5 million records. I mean, at the end of the day, it kind of goes into Uptown, and we got to talk about Uptown Records sometimes too, because from Uptown's Kicking It, you know, with Groove Beat Chill and Heavy D and the Boys, you going back to 80 with Finesse and Quist. You going back to 86. Yeah, you going back to 86 with that, and this is 92. You know what I mean? This dropped July 28th, 1992. You know, and it was crazy because that's my senior year from high school going into my freshman year at Morgan. And I remember the first, you know, you get your dorm room. I got my answering machine, and I'm not picking hip hop. I'm the song in my background was Love No Limit. You know what I mean? Like I'm literally picking an R&B song to do my little, and for people watching, before you have voicemails, you had to have the answering machine. You have some music on, and you know what I mean. It was a whole. It literally was a whole. It was a whole thing. It was like literally like a studio session, and you do like 20 takes just to get it right.
I'm about to say you had to, you know what I mean. You had to go over the script a little bit.
Right. Like putting a mess on your machine. This was like the first part of going to the studio for people was so. Just again, an incredible album. And Ski, great point. The remix album, which was crazy, which I think I got here.
He'll just be having stuff.
This joint right here, like
There's a robot
that's just this joint was just crazy. I mean, all the remixes on here was crazy. So yeah, definitely.
Hey,
yo,
I gotta give love to a song that most people don't talk about on What's 411.
What's that?
The changes I've been going through.
Oh yeah, it's a banger,
bro.
That's a banger.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And a remix that people that I cannot find anywhere. I've searched high and low for it off of My Life. The joint with Lauryn Hill. There was a remix with Lauryn Hill. I forgot the name of the song. There you go, with Lauryn Hill. I can't find it. Not on YouTube, nowhere. But yeah, the remix was really popping back then. So
I think I found it. I'll double check. I'll send you. I think I found it.
Please do.
It's a real gritty version, but I found it.
Yeah, that's it. Trey, what you got up first, good brother?
Before I get into mine, man, you know, the changes I've been going through, that's the Biz joint, to make the music with your mouth drum, crazy. And then that Make It Last Forever joint, that bust down the door, because that came down at the end of 87. But that bust down the door for all that New Jack Swing shit that came in 88. Talking about the Don't Be Cool album. You're talking about the Guy album. You're talking about the Al B. Shore sounds on there. You're talking about the New Edition album. It bust down all that shit for 88. That's the cultural impact right there.
Yes, sir.
You understand?
Trey, and I didn't notice that. Thank you for mentioning it. But you know who made us notice it? Drunk Keith Sweat, when he did the verses against Bobby Brown.
Absolutely.
He was letting us know. He was letting us know everything. And that was the first night I was like, why is Keith Sweat thugging? And everybody was like, Keith Sweat been thugging. He been shaking people up uptown in Harlem. Really, Keefy?
Listen, we told him, look, I got Teddy for the cheap. I got him for nothing. Y'all niggas came out y'all pocket for that nigga. I'm the one that put him on. I robbed him, but I put him on. You know what I mean? Now it's cool for all y'all to get to. But
right, you know, it's almost like Keith did with Noah did for Pharrell. Pharrell wasn't making no noise about Super Thug. You know what I mean? Then after Super Thug, then everybody wanted Pharrell. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. So, so my two, I'm gonna start off. What is this? September 24th, 1991. Does that ring a bell? September 24th, 1991.
Low End Theory.
Who said it? Who said it?
Low End Theory.
There you go.
You know I know. That's my favorite joke.
Low End Theory. Where do I begin? So, Low End Theory. Okay, now I wasn't the biggest People's Instinctive Travel album, right? Because it brought in and ushered a weird type of vibe for me per se. You know what I'm saying? With the
clothing,
the potato sack, back shit, and all of that. You know, that wasn't my style. I like Can I Kick It? I liked a couple of other records on there, but it wasn't really my flavor. So then these dudes come back, right, and just give me some shit that I have never. First of all, you transformed your whole shit. You get now to, because it felt like a label thing where the label probably put you in all this shit right here and tried to market you and package you a certain way with that People's Instinctive. And this Low End Theory album felt like, oh, this is these niggas from Queens that really grew up on this shit, vibed off of the jazz shit. Fife is now his coming out party and he's rhyming, but the jazz samples and the beat knock, I had never heard no shit like that ever. And it's so much of an impact that Dr. Dre, right? Because most people are going to say the Chronic is a cultural shift, which it is, because it kind of, vitalized that whole West Coast sound and shit. But he got that shit from Low End Theory. He studied Low End Theory. Low End Theory is the blueprint for the knock. You know what I'm saying? For that knock. And people that are music lovers know what I'm talking about when I say that knock. Right? The EQ, the engineering is spectacular.
Wild Powers.
But and Trey, to that point, because I got Low End Theory too, and it's one of the things that this was the first time that an engineer was really shouted out like that. And so many, you talk about it being the cornerstone. Bob Powers then became the sought after engineer for that sound. So the Roots' first 3-4 albums was Bob Powers, D'Angelo, Erykah Badu. Like, it just opened up that door, because prior to that, like, nobody had a go-to engineer. You just and you rented a studio, and whoever was there, that was your engineer. You know what I mean? But Bob Powers actually became that sought after person, like that. So yeah.
So Low End Theory, one of my top 3 albums of all time. You know what I'm saying? It's really kind of self-explanatory. Before I go to the second one, Ski, you want to say something?
I just wanted to mention I was stuck because I have Tribe Called Quest. I don't got nothing next to it because I wasn't sure whether to put Instinctive, Low End Theory, or Midnight Marauders. Because Instinctive, even with its idiosyncrasies, it still introduced us.
Yes.
It still got Bonita Appleboom on it. Yes. It still got Tribe. It still got Can I Kick It, as you mentioned. Yes. It got a couple of Lucky Lucian is one of my favorite songs. Hilarious.
Yeah.
But also in the era, this is why this age group, our age group, is difficult to have discussions because then you learn the group. You learn even before Low End Theory came out, when you would see them perform, they never wore potato sacks performing.
Right.
You know what I mean? They had on, they was like this performing. You know
right.
What I mean? He was
So
like,
it threw me off. That's what I'm saying.
Like, I got it. But
yeah,
I just wanted to shout them out because I don't think the entire hip hop industry, rap industry, don't move a certain way without Tribe. And even I do have to, more than Muhammad, I got to focus on Tip. Although personally, I don't like any Tip solo work. I don't like any of them. I don't like Vibrant Things. I don't like none of that.
It's tough.
Right. With all of that, all the stuff before, his tinkering is amazing on what he was able to do all 3 albums. So I just wanted to add that.
Man, Trey, before you move on, Trey, I had Tribe's Low End Theory too. The jazz sound, I want people to understand it did not premiere with Tribe. Gangstar actually with Nights in Tunisia from Words I Manifest, but Tribe popularized it.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So a lot of people like to say it did not start with Tribe. It got popularized with Tribe. One of the greatest posse cuts ever with Scenario. Y'all know me, it's a fucking hip hop museum. If you've been in my crib before, super duper Tribe Called Quest box set for Low End Theory. You spark it open, you got all the joints on 8-inch singles. So you got the Scenario, you got the jazz,
nice.
You got Check the Rhyme,
collector's item.
You got all these joints, and then the rest of them come together to form the shorty who's on the front. But this one right here was that Scenario, and then you talk about the Scenario remix with Kid Hood. Absolutely bonkers, so definitely one of the most influential albums that shifted to me so much in the culture, because like you said, Dre was inspired by this to go cook up the Chronic, and that's the way hip hop was supposed to be. You were supposed to be, I heard that, I gotta step my game up. I'm not with, it's like the NBA now. I ain't with all that fringe shit. There need to be some competition. You know what I mean? People don't know. Cream and RZA used to go back and forth. Like, yo, nigga, I got this piano sample. It's about to kill you. Hit you with Cream. Cream like, I got some shit for you. J. Rue's the original. Like, that's the thing. It was a friendly competition about we make this dope for each other. Vern, what were you about to say?
Are there any Will Trent fans on the show?
Will Trent?
Yeah, it's a TV series.
I never heard of it.
Yeah, it's real good. But anyway, I was watching last week, and they police detective. He's a GBI detective, and 2 other cops sitting in a car, and they were staking out a place. And I hear Left My Wallet in El Segundo, and they rapping to it. That's crazy, man. I mean, that's how long ago was that?
Yeah.
91, 89. No, that's 89, 90.
Yeah. So it's just Tribe, man, bro. That album, Trey Lee, man. I'm coming into my own, man. I'm in college. I can remember being on the train. I remember when I was in the science building when Fife said I got more rhymes than the Winans Got Family on my Walkman. so that man, that Kill, you said that other song album was just the one you listened to the most. Hands down, Low End Theory is the album I've listened to the most ever in my life. Yeah.
Stop time. So the second John, July 3rd, 1995, and I absolutely burned this album to the ground. This is my R&B John. Brown Sugar.
You took my I got that on my list. Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Brown, and I mean, like you talk about neo, like this is the foundation of neo soul. This is where you get all of that shit after that. The Batus and the Jill Scotts, Kedar Massenberg, mastermind behind all this shit. You know what I'm saying, and so forth and so on. But Brown Sugar, cats know. Like this is around the time that I was actually. This is right before I signed my deal, and I would sit up in the room playing this fucking album, and Many Faces was really inspired by, I don't know, not in a concept way, but just in a mode that I was in with regards to, you know, just flows and shit like that. I was listening to Brown Sugar.
Yeah, man.
I was listening to Brown Sugar for about 9-10 months straight. Anytime you come in my crib, Trey upstairs listening to that shit again. You know what I mean? And this time I had the braids and all that shit, so it was almost like there was a damn synergy here. You know what I mean? Like, you know, but that Brown Sugar album, man, top to bottom, you don't come on, man. Shit damn motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? Me and Those Dreaming Eyes of Mine. Yeah, you know what I mean? Come on, man. Higher. The last joint and the whole like, come on,
Cruising. Jones in my bones.
Jones in my bones. Come on, man. Come on, man. Come on, man.
And that dude is an artist. And that dude does he play? He play piano. Or he play other instruments too.
Play drums.
He play multiple instruments, man.
Guitar, like, but again, you talk about culture shifting and ushered in a whole genre. Ushered in a joint,
unequivocally.
Yeah. Trey, I had that joint too, and I mean, when you just talk about some of the singles, you talk about the lady, not only lady, but the remix, the Primo remix with AZ.
Yes.
You know, when you talking about this cruising remix, a lot of people ain't heard, which is bananas. And then to top it all off, you got D Live at the Jazz Cafe in London. If cats haven't heard this is it right there, you know. So like you said, Trey, shifted the blueprint for you know, neo soul. And to be honest, this is what probably made me fall in love with soul music. People know my mom is a jazz musician, so I didn't grow up in a traditional house of listening to the OJs cleaning on. I grew up with jazz music, you know what I mean? So R&B to me, all the way up until this album, was all about my 90 minutes and Timbaland tapes. You know, my 90 minutes of knocking boots tape. So only time I was playing some R&B was I'm a shorty coming over. I don't know. No, I'm not playing this no other time. But when I heard this and my niggas was like, yo, Brown Sugar about weed, I'm like, oh, this nigga talking about weed? Like, okay. Then niggas hit me like, yo, you heard shit damn motherfucker. This nigga murked some nigga who was fucking his baby moms. I was like, oh shit, this my kind of nigga. Like, yeah, like this my kind of nigga right here. He killed somebody in the song. Like, I'm with this nigga. So, and I never forget, it's this article, and it's crazy because we actually follow each other on Twitter now. And XXL, I think the second issue, D'Angelo was on a cover, the Goody Mob was on. Like, they had two covers for the same album, and this chick, Tanya Pendleton, wrote this piece about him, and she said he's a nigga's nigga. And I was like, to me, that's the best way to explain D'Angelo. He's a nigga's nigga, you know. So, listen, yeah, very dope album.
And shout out to Raphael Sadiq and Tony. Oh, yeah. Because Lady, you know, I don't know if people know, that was their song. Like, and Angelo came along and they were going to use that song, but they felt like he could execute it. You know what I'm saying? Because they, you know, so it was already done. It wasn't a John that they had put together, you know, once they started working with him. That song was complete already. And then they just handed it off. Because they're like, yo, D can execute this John, and that's it. But I ran that, you know, I made a record out of that record. You know what I'm saying? So,
right.
But nah, Brown Sugar, man.
All right.
Since you mentioned, Tony Tone, just mentioned the Tony Tone, the song that he had, is that what he had? That song with the song he did with Dude was fire too.
You should be.
Woo! That was sick.
Fire.
Yeah.
Fire.
Yeah. Come on, what you got, bro?
All right, so the first one I got, this young man stepped on the stage with his partner, and he told everybody that the South got something to say.
Woo!
So that's 1994 Outkast, Shout out to Vern. I see it behind you, bro. Southern Playalistic Cadillac Music. Bro.
Yes, sir.
That out, them brothers. Again, this was like This was. I don't even know how to describe it, yo. It was like they were like. It was just music. It was just so musical. Their voices are so musical. That whole camp, right? Like if I was running down my whole list, the other one I had also from down there was 1995's Goody Mob Soul Food.
Yes, sir.
Those two albums let me know it didn't matter what region you were from. If you have fire, you have fire. Yes. And then the South just had a chokehold, and even if they don't have a chokehold, they still have a foothold in the game ever since then. And it can't be, right. And it can't be denied. And really that whole Southern movement of independent albums and independent companies, and dudes really get like the stuff you see in the videos was really theirs, like really, you know what I'm saying? Like just that showmanship from down there. I remember going to it must have been 95 or 96 maybe. I remember going to Jack the Rapper. The Jack the Rapper joint.
Yes, sir.
Down there, and just soaking up all that culture and all everything they had from down there. So that's my one. And I'm gonna get right to the controversy for the dishonorable mention. R. Kelly 12 play.
Here's the thing, bro. I apologize, bro. We don't talk about Candyman on the show. My fault. I forgot to put that out there. We don't talk about Candyman. If you say that nigga name, right? If you say his name 3 times, your daughter come up missing. We don't talk about Candyman on the show. So my bad. I should have thrown that out there. Right.
Yeah, but that was my one R&B joint. But yeah, but really, but Outkast and then just everything that they, because both of them are just, they're so different and then somehow similar, somehow very different, like all at the same time, and they just present just such different, and then and then of course over time they just showed all the different layers from down there. But that album, that album is just crazy, man. That album is just crazy from the moment you put it on. It's just go ahead, Vern.
So hold for one sec, Vern, because Trey got to get ready to bounce. So I want you to know.
Oh, okay.
Definitely, Trey. Appreciate you always coming through, bro.
No, man, I had to chime in a little bit for this joint. You know what I mean? But it's a pleasure, man. Pleasure meeting a couple of cats in here for the first time. You know what I mean? Make sure y'all not strangers. Let's get back. At least I should not be a stranger. I got to get in here more.
Hey, Trey, I'm dropping introducing the Winans when you go. I'm talking about that.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm gonna have to catch that one. I gotta hear that one. But yeah, man. But I appreciate y'all. And if you haven't, for everybody out there, if you haven't got up on it, I got the new record out. It's called The Pivot. You can only get it on YouTube. Go check out the video for right now. It just got debuted on Rock the Bells today. You know what I mean? Shout out to Kaz and shout out to Shy Rock, produced by my man, the Mighty O, aka O'Jiz. And Kill, man. Appreciate you, brother.
Yeah. You already know, bro. You already know what it is, bro. Appreciate you.
All right, Joe.
All right. Bro, what you gonna say, bro?
Yes. So Kill.
Yes, sir.
I'm in Atlanta, so my homies that produce, they got platinum stuff with Pop and everything. They went to summer school with Rico Wade. So at that time, we were about to kind of get on ourselves. I was a rapper, they were the producers. So it was like, we're gonna go to Rico's house. So we went down to the dungeon, walked down those rickety stairs, popped the tape in, and Rico was like, yeah, the producing is fire, man. But the MC, he ain't quite in pocket. He wasn't lying. It was me. But Rico popped on at that. We was like, man, Rico, what in the world is that? Who is that? That's this little group we working on. He was like, matter of fact, they doing a showcase this Friday, and y'all should come through. And the rest is history, man. So rest in peace, Rico, man. We hold Rico and Organized in the highest regard for what they did for Atlanta. So yeah, glad you brought that one up.
And real quick, because Southern Playalistic was on mine, but y'all know I always got something up in here somewhere. So we got to get the Outcast statue right here. Fresh off the brick. Yeah,
Nice.
So you got him on with the coat, got the Jordan 5s on, you know, got the whole welcome to ATLians.
Look at these dudes. Action figures.
Nice.
So you know what I mean? We got this up in here. So yeah, Outkast. Like you said, Kill, man. The South got something to say, man. I mean, I remember that album because it was funny. The girl I was dating at the time, she owned it, and I would keep borrowing hers. I don't know why I never brought it. I guess I was like, I'm gonna just keep borrowing yours or whatever. But incredible album. I mean, Get Up, Get Out, Southern Playalistics, the remix, The Players Ball. Just so much dope music on there. That just was the foundation, I think, which kicked open the door. If Run DMC kicked open the door for hip hop getting on MTV and all that stuff, and for rappers getting sneaker deals and clothing deals and all that, you know, I definitely think, you know, Cast. And I hate these. See, I don't know if y'all be on Twitter like that, but they got this whole Mount Rushmore shit going around now, and it's like
I ignore those.
You know, it was like
They're
the
not
South.
us.
It's like
Those
got
aren't
Dre.
us.
It got Dre's face on it, and I'm like, or this one nigga told me, he was like, yeah, Dre deserve a statue. And I'm like, what the fuck about Big Boy? Y'all gonna stop forgetting about this man. Like, if you're gonna put Dre's face on, you got a Big's face on. Like, it's a 2-in-1 deal. You know what I mean? So I definitely love you for shouting that one out, Kill. Sherrod, what you got up for your first joint?
Well, like a lion's share of mine have been taken already, but Public Enemy, it takes an instant million to hold back. I mean that, you know, it sifted the genre for a while, right? It brought now we could be positive in our raps and be forceful with it, right? Brought on folks like X Clan and other groups that came thereafter, but that was a big move there. Because you have folks that you knew around the way, and it was about a different life. But when that came out, they were pro-black. They were about uplifting the community, at least for a moment. At least the songs came on. At least they would pump their fist or whatever. So I thought that was pretty impactful at the time. So that's the first one.
Kill, why didn't you ever sell drugs?
Because of Chuck D.
Okay.
I mean, dead ass. Like, you know, and to me, the biggest moment, I don't care what I care about. It could be some bigger shit. But one of the biggest moments was having Chuck D on Apartment 5B and being able to tell him that, like, look, you know, like, you saved my life, bro. Like, your music is what kept me from doing a lot of dumb shit. Because I'm like, yo, I cannot go out here and sell drugs and then come home and listen to Night of Living Bass Heads and listen to Public Enemy, you know, and all those things. So, again, it still trips me out. I was just texting with Chuck the other day, and I'm bugging out. And we're texting about the Knicks. We always go back and forth about the Knicks and the Sixers all the time. And it's just like, yo, I fucking have Chuck D's number, and I can text this nigga to talk shit. Like, that's the most mind-blowing shit
crazy
in the world to me. It's like my pop, if he was able to like text Malcolm X to be like, yo, what's the speech about tonight, bro? Like, give me a heads up. Like, what we talking? Like, it's like, that's like, it still trips me out that I'm able to do that. PE's was one of mine. I mean, you're talking about sonically, not just what Chuck was saying, but the Bomb Squad, like the production, all the stuff that was thrown in it, allowed whistles and allowed noises that everybody was trying to emulate. The political commentary, I mean, on drugs with bass heads, you know, radio with Don't Believe the Hype, you know, the government with Black Still in the Hour with Chaos, and one of my favorite interludes, show them what you got, you know what I mean, that if you go down the rabbit hole that Lenny Kravitz ended up using for Madonna's Justify My Love, that Chuck sued them for. Then you had the Lenny Kravitz cheating on Lisa Bonet with Madonna, which then spawns one of my favorite albums ever, Lenny Kravitz Mama Said. And then you go on and then Jay-Z sampling it for Show Me What You Got for his joint, you know. So it's just crazy how things like with sampling and all that stuff does. But that was definitely one of my shots. So definitely It Takes a Nation of a Millions. Next joint I got up, Straight Outta Compton, NWA.
Yep, got that one too.
Hold up, Sha, you ain't had no R&B joint?
So I didn't really, because I had Brown Sugar and I had Keith Sweat, Make It Last Forever, because that brought in the whole New Jack Swing stuff. I guess I could throw in a semi R&B joint on Father MC's Father's Day. So that was like a good mix of like R&B and hip hop. That was one of, I guess, from my recollection, one of the first where it's like really that was like the infused sound R&B and hip hop from an actual hip hop artist. So I had that on my list. So
I
I'm glad you
mean-
know me, man.
I mean to interrupt you, Kill, only because I
No.
lived with that man for 9 years, and I don't know R&B without that man. So the fact that he ain't really come with none,
Hey, man.
But with Straight Outta Compton, I always talk about pre and post Straight Outta Compton. Like in the Bible, there's before death and then after death. You know, BC, before Christ, and AD. There was pre and post Straight Outta Compton, because before Straight Outta Compton, niggas didn't curse like that. You know, Kane may say all shit, or Rakim may say I'ma tear shit up. After Straight Outta Compton, it went from fucking Sinbad and Bill Cosby to Eddie Murphy and Red Fox like overnight. Like Coogee Rap's debut album doesn't have one curse word on it, not one. His sophomore album may have over 4,000 curse words on it in one song, like just with Talk Like Sex, you know what I mean? So it just really is all about pre and post cursing. I remember even asking, yo, what is Compton? Like, number one, what do these dudes got on Jerry curls? Like, why are y'all fucking with these niggas? Like, my niggas was coming to me like, yo, let's look at this album. I'm like, nigga, they got Jerry curls. Like, this is what we doing in hip hop. But then when you hit press play and you hear, you know, Dre talking for a minute and straight out, and then the beat drop, it's just you off to the races. I mean, it introduced us to Ice Cube. I mean, these dudes were one of the first videos to get banned from MTV. Like, we're not playing that. You know, with Fuck the Police, we're not playing. Radio stations were not playing that. And it's crazy because they still went platinum in '89 with no radio airplay, with no video play, and everybody around the country wanted it. And it's also pre and post the parental advisory sticker. Before Straight Outta Compton, if that sticker was on your album, you might as well just forget it. You ain't getting played nowhere. No record store is gonna sell your record. It was a death sentence. After Straight Outta Compton, you wanted that. You wanted that. Labels wanted you to get that because it made kids be like, oh, I can't have it, I want it. So it just made it even more. So to me, Straight Outta Compton, on the R&B tip, I mean, I guess it's easy to go with, but Purple Rain, I mean, it's Prince. This is June 25th, 84. To me, it's one of the GOAT albums. It's one of the GOAT soundtracks. It's one of the GOAT movies. I mean, when Doves Cry, Let's Go Crazy, Purple Rain. I mean, just an incredible album. You know, Vague's dude is Mike, mine is Prince. You can't go wrong with either one. Just that's there, you know. And let's throw out Thriller because, you know, I just want to get that one out. We might as well throw out the Big Joker too. I mean, with Thriller, The Girl's Mine, Billie Jean, Beat It, Want to Be Starting Something, Human Nature, PYT, Thriller. It's amazing that these albums had this many singles. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's the thing that kind of threw me, because in hip hop, you may get 2 to 3 videos, like at least back in the 90s, from like 89 to maybe 94, you'd get 2 or 3 videos. I mean, the Motown 25 Moonwalk, the Thriller video, going to sell over 32 million records. You talk about a cultural shift. To me, that was it. Vague, did you have Thriller, or you just left that off because it's just kind of obvious?
I have no R&B joints, but if I did, it definitely would have been Thriller. Shit, I got the hold up.
Listen, there's a meme that says once you got this position, you about to go platinum. I think once they put you here,
right. R&B.
Go ahead.
Marvin Gaye got that.
Steve, hold on for a second. Go ahead, Rel. Say the shit. Say the shit. I already know what the fuck you gonna say. Go ahead and say it. Just get the shit out.
Nope. I
say it, bro, because we don't know it. Say it.
Well, first of all, if people watch enough, they know I love this album by this cat named Myron.
Name who?
This most laying across the
This dude right here. So,
son. Nah, yo. You gotta take that out, yo. You gotta take that out, yo.
Pause, Myron.
You gotta take that out, yo.
Oh my gosh.
He might as well have his feet. He might as well have his legs like the curl, you know, like when your legs.
He gotta be on the phone.
Nah, bro. Let me see the back cover.
You want to see the back?
Yo, I
Whoa.
want you to switch. I want you to take that out of the case. I want you to make that back cover the front from here on out when you show people that album. From here
Yo,
on out.
This has
No,
been a running.
yo.
This has been a running joke for at least over 6 years. Like, so as soon as Vegas pulled out the Thriller, and then Ski started talking about how you lean, and I was looking at Rel the whole time, and I just was like, "Go ahead and say it, nigga. I know what you want to say. Just say it."
That's the first thing came to my mind too, bro.
Hey, Kim, show the picture that I just texted to you.
The picture that you just texted to me.
Yeah.
Yo, it's straight out of Compton. It's straight out of Compton when Maxine Waters.
See, this nigga's stupid. Now Vern got
What is that? Velvet Couch, yo. Yo.
It's a dope ass album. It's a dope ass album. I stand by this
I'm
album.
never gonna find that out.
Get it covered.
I'm never gonna know that. Ever. I'm never gonna know that.
Niggas gonna be like, "What you listening to?"
I don't like his name. His name is Myra.
Myron.
Myron.
Oh. Y'all gotta
Myron.
remember,
Okay.
maybe y'all don't. He had this joint that was called "We Can Get Down" with Spinderella. This is right around the time, 98. D'Angelo, everybody wants some new brown sugar. He was like a D'Angelo knockoff. So it was like, whatever. So yeah, go ahead, bro. I knew you were gonna say that. I knew you was. I saw it in your face. But it's cool. It's cool. What's up, man?
It's straight out of Compton when it wasn't Maxine Waters, it was another lady politician that was doing they did like the
you're talking about
Dolores Tucker.
See Dolores Tucker, yes. Was I think it was straight out of Compton that spawned it.
Yeah, it was straight out. I mean, straight out Compton, I think spawned everything. You know, I mean, keep in mind, you talk about Raiders jackets. I don't know if anybody had a Raider jacket before straight out of Compton. I mean,
on the East Coast.
You look at starter jackets. I mean, I'm sure Starter made a rack of money because it's straight out of Compton. And I went from not knowing what Compton was to everybody's from Compton. And I think it was a group like CFP, some fat dude. He was from Compton, and Compton's Most Wanted, and then just everybody was from Compton. I really feel like that album is what started record labels now trying to mimic what other people were doing. Like prior to that, labels didn't know what to do. It's like, cool, just rap. But then it's like, oh shit, we just sold 2 million records with no airplay and no video play. Yo, everybody, Compton, get a Raiders jacket, curse, keep cursing. You know what I mean? And let's sell some records, you know, and from that point on. Now I will say this, Kamani, this album right here, this album cover is whack as fuck, but the album is dope as shit.
Yeah,
so
I heard that.
Here's a history.
Stove
God. Trust me, when my man sent me this album, I was like, I ain't listening to that shit. What is this nigga crying? Like, what is this? What is this? But
that's fine.
he was like, yo, trust me, if y'all haven't heard Stove God and you're in the mood for some coke rap, he can take coke rap to another level. If you thought Pusha could take it to another level, this nigga finds a whole nother level after Pusha to take.
Is he connected to Griselda?
No? He is now. He first came out with Rock Marciano, but he is now connected with Griselda. So yeah. So all right, Veg. So yeah, the pause and all that. So we're back to you, Rel. What's your next one, man?
Well, I had a couple that got named. I had Strata Compton, of course. I had It Takes a Nation as well. So I'll go with another one that I don't know if people would agree with, but I had Life After Death. And the reason I have it is because that formula of combining street and commercial and the double album, like I think it was executed the best with this album right here. Like you got everything in this album, and it was, I think, for a double album, like I think this was executed, you know, like almost perfect for me with the way it was sequenced and just the very different sounds that was on the album. I think like people were trying to find that balance, and I think this is one where that balance is evident. You know what I'm saying? Remember how we talk about Volume 1, where it looked like Jay-Z was searching to find that balance of street and having a, this is what it, life after death is what it looks like to me, and it being a double album that I want to listen to and not get tired of, like that's why I got Life After Death.
And let's not forget you stole your mom's car to go get it. So
let's not forget that I did because he had just passed, and the mall, they were having something at midnight before the album came out where you can go, and they were having like kind of like a celebration, and you can get the album and all that. And I knew my mom, it was a weekday, I knew my mom was not letting me go, so I snuck out the back, took the whip, set up with my man Bilal. Yeah. Now, if she would have been woke when I got home, we wouldn't be talking to me right now. So
the sneaking out is two offenses, because it's sneaking out. You could have snuck out and just got there some other way, but also I'm a New York dude. So I don't know. I don't know how.
No, you're right. But I had to sneak out and steal
and took the whip.
Yeah.
And I always remind people who are watching this that now can get hip hop just on your phones as soon as it comes out. This is when we will risk life and limb for hip hop. This is when you may have been raised in that house that didn't want no hip hop played, and you risk life and limb and you risk punishment to be able to listen to your favorite album on your headphones or listen to it on the family stereo system while your mom was out. She come home early. So there were times, that's why I always tell these young boys, you'll never love this culture as much as I do, because we risked our life for this culture. This man stole his mother's car to go buy an album. That's what we were doing. This is how much we love this music. That it wasn't like I'm gonna wait till tomorrow or I'm gonna miss the party. This nigga didn't steal his mom's car to get some ass. He stole his mom's car to get an album. That's how much we love hip hop, our generation.
Did you put gas in the car, real?
Yo, you know what? I was so dumb. I did not, and I don't know how I got away with it. She knows about it now. That's a good. I didn't put it gas. I probably had enough money to get the album, and
that was it. And again, that's the risk that we're taking. Do I put some gas in the car? Do I buy? I'm buying now. I'm all in. I've already got the car and drive now. I might as well go. So I feel you on that. Veg, what you got up next, bro?
All right, up next I got 1993 Into the Wu 36 Chambers Wu-Tang Clan. Man, like there's a ton of reasons why this is a cornerstone. First 1,000 niggas in a group, never seen before. Like, didn't really think it would work. Like, really? Like, all of these niggas? But the kung fu angle, especially coming off a time where we all kind of had like the kung fu flicks, I know in NY, on the weekends, like Saturdays and stuff like that, or Saturday afternoon or Sunday afternoon, one or the other. So it was more like them taking, okay, we got all these dudes, but it's like, it's a clan, and their rhyming styles are different styles. And to me, it was very different, especially when you watch Protect Your Neck and you see somebody like Old Dirty Bastard and they say there's no father to his style, and you're like, damn, this is kind of hot how they're finding this correlation between kung fu flicks and the different rhyming styles and the different personalities on his album. Then when you get the album, it's like, yo, these are the dirtiest beats I've ever heard in my life. Like, this is the grimiest, unpredictable sounding beats. Like, I didn't know how to digest. Like, when I first heard Cream, I was just like, what the fuck is this? Like, nobody makes beats like this. Like, I'm not used to shit sounding sinister and these dudes telling real street tales about their lives. It was just so raw and gritty, and I think for the game itself, obviously there's a uniqueness to Wu-Tang Clan. But I think in a lot of ways also, like you said earlier, it was one of those things where everybody was striving to be different and better than whatever they heard. So there's somebody or some group or whatever that was out before them that made them feel like we're going to do it this way. And then, where they were coming from, before that, Staten Island wasn't like that. Like, Like, you don't even have to be from New York to see what it was about. You know, if you wasn't from one of them boroughs like Brooklyn, Queens, Harlem, Manhattan, whatever, the Bronx, like that was it. And seeing how the Wu just basically bum rushed the game like that was like kind of like we were saying earlier about Outkast. It's like, yo, Rakim said it. It's not where you're from, it's where you're at. And if you dope like that, then yeah, you know, we don't care where you from. You know, you ain't got to be from Brooklyn or the Bronx or whatever. So I just think in general, you know, the uniqueness from a production standpoint, from the different MCs to the slang, right? The skits, like not really knowing what the fuck they were talking about a couple of times. Where you like shit made out of glass, nigga. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like I don't like
Shamik just got shot. Shamik just got shot.
Yeah, Shamik got busted his head 2 times, God. I'm like, damn. That's how niggas report
it.
Right.
What do you mean is he dead?
Right. But yeah, you know,
I mean, bro, that killer tape skit, man. Like, I don't know how many times that Morgan nigga walk in your dorm room, like, yo, son, you got my killer tape. Like, leaving the skits was crazy. You know what I mean? Yeah. Now that's an incredible pick, Veg. Incredible pick, man. And then I mean, just spawned so many solo careers too. You know what I mean? So not just as the group, but it had all of us waiting for all the members and everything like that. So that's definitely dope. Ski, what you got up next, bro?
Very pleased we had time to come back around so I could show this the range of different things, and this is going to add to another point. February 6, 1989, dropped De La Soul, 3 Feet High and Rising. I'm laughing because about 40 minutes ago, Philly Kid was like, I don't want to hear no more than 9-10 tracks. These dudes dropped 24 tracks on their debut album. 24 tracks. To show our age, it was 12 on one side of the tape.
Yes, sir.
On the cassette tape. But it was, what I like about it is what we were talking about as rap started to change, as real money entered the industry. Mm-hmm. And you could feel that the industry was never going to be the same again. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that meant it wasn't going to be good, but it took away what I like to call the balance of the industry. It took away the old school high school cafeteria, where you get to the cafeteria in your school, and over there is the sports dudes table, over here is the fly girls table, over here is kind of like the regular dude table, over here is the kind of sort of thugs. They not really thugs, but they the ones that's gonna protect the school if something happened. There's the super nerd table, there's the comic book table, there's all these different tables all in one room because we all multifaceted people. Yep. And what felt like occurred after our era is everybody had guns and all girls go down on the first night. Kind of thing. It's like, what happened? And that's not really the era we came up in. You know what I mean? That's not what we know. You know what I'm saying? We know a balance of things. So I appreciated De La Soul for their oddities and just creating a space for everybody to be. Like, there's a space for these dudes, for the potato sack. For the potato sack book bag people, there's a space for them. Even after they stopped dressing like that, when they decided De La Soul was dead, there's a space for the regular dude. There's a space for these lyrics that don't got everything to do with carrying the package from here to there, or laying it down like this and busting it open and so on and so forth. So I'll always appreciate the whole Native Tongues crew. They're not on my list, but if it was personal, Jungle Brothers' first album, I probably listened to that. You know what I mean? I probably had that in my Walkman for a year straight. I don't think that's commercially popular enough for me to put it on this list, but that one changed my life. And so them being the early kind of inception of the Native Tongues crew, I'll always appreciate that click.
Yes, no doubt.
Yeah. I got that too. I mean, the intro is skits. There weren't skits before this album.
They had about 6, 7, 8, 10 skits on that joint that was very involved kind of thing.
Right. I mean, Prince Paul was sampling everything on this album, like you said, Ski, being yourself, and I felt like this was the official Native Tongue album. Like, I'm with you, Ski. Jungle Brothers is probably my favorite Native Tongue album. I personally favorite it better than any Tribe album. I love that first Jungle Brother album.
Q-Tip is introduced on that album.
Exactly. You know, and then when you just think about singles, Potholes, Plug Tuning, Buddy, Say No Go, Me, Myself, and I, just an incredible album. Yeah, and it's funny you say that because I didn't mind them being potato sack niggas, but then I didn't like People's Instinctive because they was potato sack niggas. I don't know why. I don't know. Maybe the music was just better, but it just made me think that like
Prince Paul should have did Instinctive.
Yeah, I don't know what it was, but I just realized that like, yo, they was dressing like fucking weird. I remember a shorty asked me like, yo, Kill, you hip hop, like, what's Potholes in My Lawn mean? I'm like, I have no idea. Like, I don't know if any of us knew what that shit was. Funny thing about high school, we had this nigga who used to always have a fucked up box cut, and we called him Potholes in My Lawn because his box had like holes in it. So, you know what I mean? Just it's so funny. This comedian was just talking about how you grow up in the hood, everybody got nicknames, and you don't know what that person's real name is. And I saw this dude, God bless the dead, he actually passed away, but we called him Mad Balls. And it, you know, like, you remember them ugly balls that used to okay, Mad Balls. So we would call him Mad Balls. So we're old now, I'm married, so I'm like, yo, see, this is my man fucking Mad Balls. Like, nigga, what is your name? Like, you know, it's like I really didn't know his name, man. It's just an incredibly sad story too, how he passed. Him and his daughter were beef, and it was a hard relationship. His daughter set the house on fire and left the house. He came home, thought she was in the house, so he ran in the house to try to find her, and he ended up dying in the house. So just an incredible, sad story. And I mean, it's just still crazy that niggas was calling me like, yo, you heard Mad Balls died. And I'm like, his name is Tyrone, y'all. Come on. Like, but just to show how even in the hood when you die, it's like, oh hell, there are people who don't know my real fucking name. You know what I mean? My mom called my crib in college once and asked to speak to Rahman, and they was like, you got the wrong number, and hung up on her. Like, so I'm sure there are people who don't even know my real name at the end of the day. But yeah, just so yeah, that Say No Go and everything was crazy on there. Vern, what you got up next, bro?
Man, real quick.
Oh, my bad. Skip.
Just dropping a quick R&B thing. We haven't got to discuss it. It's New Edition, Any Heartbreak. A lot of people might not. It was the album where they grew up on us.
Oh yeah. And
that's where Can You Stand the Rain is at. So
man,
that's it right there.
Now I will say this. I don't know. Have y'all seen this? It was on IG and Jimmy Jam. No, Terry Lewis. One of them two.
Jimmy Jam with Sean Stockman.
Yeah, I just saw that.
And he's talking about how they brought Johnny into the group, and it's just genius. It really is about. It is just about like producing, and it was like, yo, we're gonna hit you with Johnny, but then we're gonna bring you in with Ralph, and then bring it back and everything like that. So this is when people talking about producing versus beat making, it really is that, but they still doing their own beats. But it's really thinking a big picture that we can't just throw Johnny in the mix just out of nowhere, because people are gonna be like, yo, what the fuck? Who is this nigga? Because niggas been listening to NE for the past 7 years, since 82, 83, you know. So just genius how he brought him in and just made Johnny not feel like, why is this nigga in the group type thing. So definitely dope pick, Ski. Love that album.
Yeah, if you get a chance, listen to that Sean Stockman podcast, and listen to, if you can deal with Quest, it's the 2-episode interview with Jimmy Jam, bro. So much chock full of information and backstories.
Sean Stockman's podcast.
Sean Stockman got one, and then Quest Love Supreme, Jimmy Jam did 2 episodes.
Okay.
So yeah.
All right, what you got up next, Vern?
Rob, we done ran through everything that I wrote down.
All right, what about you, Kamani?
Yeah, me too. Because I'd already mentioned the only ones that other people, the only two that other people didn't already mention, but I mentioned them were Paid in Full by Eric B. and Rakim, and then Goody Mob Soul Food. But everything else people had.
All right, we'll touch on Paid in Full. Yeah. Touch on Paid in Full.
Again, well, so that so first of all, that look, they brought that whole Dapper Dan look to the game. Really popularized Dapper Dan, so you know, having the outfits, the Fendi outfits and the Gucci outfits. The chains, like the big chains and stuff were like kind of already in the game, but they just took it. They just had a different look. They looked like they came straight out. You know what I'm saying? Like they looked straight up like hustlers, right? And then again, the way that Rakim was talking, the way that that's probably the only song he ever cursed in. You know what I'm saying? When he had the one line. Other than that, to have such deep, moving, intellectual street tales. And not curse, and then the way that he would just ride those rhythms was like something you hadn't heard before, and that was another time frame when like he put a lot of, not necessarily out of business, but put a lot of rappers out of business. You know what I'm saying? Like it was like you had to be totally different once Rakim came out.
Yep.
And that so just that yeah.
DMC
that was 87.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
DMC talked about coming back home from tour, and somebody let him hear that album. He was like, "Am I over?"
I saw an interview with recently with Rakim, and he was talking about being at Marley's house and being with Shan, and both separately, like both of them was in the, in Marley's living room studio with him, and both of them was like, yeah, that was good. Can you maybe like stand up and give him more energy? And he said he told both of them like, this is it. This is what I bring. This is what I'm giving. He said I can stand up, I can lay down, I can go on top of my head. It's gonna sound like this. This is what I'm bringing. And he said they basically giggled at him. And then when Paid in Full and that album came out, he said Shan called him back like, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
I mean, this joint is on mine. I mean, it's so much to say about it. I mean, Ski, to your point, like I tell my teens all the time, you got to believe in what you got. You know what I mean? Because it would have been so easy to be an unnamed MC being in the studio with Shan and Marley Marl in 1986 with The Bridge. And these are two of the dopest people in the game trying to give you advice on what you should do with your style. And for you to be mature enough to be able to be like, nah, nigga, this is what I got. And not being able to buckle and be like, all right, so what, say it faster or do like him just being able to be him. This boy on Twitter said something about Paid in Full. He was like, man, that shit, it's cool, but it just sound like a whole bunch of songs just thrown together. And I said, well, nigga, you got to go back in time. Like, this is what I love about Teacher, man, is that back in the day, hip hop, people didn't know what to do with hip hop. So you got single deals. And if your single did good, then you got another single deal. And if that single did, you would go through single deals. That's why most of these albums that came out in 87 and 88, we had heard basically 70-80% of the album because we had to hear My Melody first with then Eric B as president. Okay, that's your first 12 minutes. Then we got to hear I Ain't No Joke. Now we got to go to I Know You Got Soul. So that's why it sounds like that. But I'm like, bro, I get how in 2025 you may listen to it like that, but you got to understand that that's just how albums were made at that time. You know what I mean? So that's it. And I mean, I remember hearing My Melody being like, yo, it can't get no better. Then you hear Eric B as president. Like, yo, this is fucking amazing. It can't get no better. Then you hear I Ain't No Joke. It's like, God damn, it can't get no better. It just kept getting better and better and better. And I mean, you talk about the drug dealer mentality, bro. I can't tell you how many times I sat there and looked at this picture at the bottom to try to figure out what I wanted to go back to school with. I had a fucking list, like I was going to be able to afford any of the shit in this picture. But it made me feel good to just sit there and be like, yeah, mom, this is what I want to go back to school with. But incredible album, man. I mean, just is what it is. One of the greatest albums ever. And like you said, it made everybody have to come back and rhyme different, because I feel sorry for those groups like Houdini, who had their third album, Open Sesame, and they were still rhyming like it was Back in Black. They were still rapping like it was Funky Beat. And after we heard Paid in Full, and then we heard Open Sesame, and then again, Brooklyn Kill, you talking about whack album covers, these niggas were on a fucking flying carpet, nigga. You know what I mean? Like, yo, this is what niggas look like now, nigga. And y'all on a flying fucking carpet.
Read the room.
Right, like, but guess what? The album was probably recorded, money was spent, the album cover, and I'll never forget the song, I forgot the name of it, but Millie Jackson was on it. And it was just like, who the fuck is Millie Jackson? Like, I forgot the name of it, but Respect Yourself or something like that.
Yeah, be yourself. Be yourself.
Be yourself, exactly. And it was like, I just feel sorry for those dudes who recorded and pressed up their album before Paid in Full, because it was like, oh nah, we don't do that no more. You know what I mean?
Right,
That's
right.
You know. And Veg, it brings back another dope point to what you said about Mama Said Knock You Out, because in 87 and around that time, 88, 89, when you fell off, you just fell off. Like, once Houdini was done, Houdini was done. There was no coming back. Like you said, you know, Light, This Is Antoinette, shit, I got Attitude, still one of my favorite songs ever. There was no coming back. Like, there's just, after Mo D got took out by LL, there was no coming back. You know, so that is another point back to what you said about Mama Said Knock You Out, because LL actually came back and came back with a vengeance. So definitely feel that. Shot, what you got up next, bro?
I got a couple standard issue joints. I'll just throw two of them out back to back. DMX is Dark and Hell is Hot, and 50 Cent, Get Rich or Die Trying. Those two, I mean, DMX, it was, maybe there was some like real, you could feel it hip hop before, but nothing hit like DMX. Like, you know, you may have connected with a song or two, but like, I didn't go through the stuff that he was going through. Most people that I hung with didn't go through the stuff he was going through, but we all felt it, right? And so that kind of shifted the, you know, on the genre for me, in that it brought, like, you could be spiritual, although I don't know that a lot of people were spiritual after that, but you could be spiritual, you could cry, you could be tough and cry, you could be tough and do other tough stuff, but you can actually be real. So I felt like that really shifted it, and you had to be different. Well, you didn't have to be different, but he just set the bar for, I mean, in terms of the performances, the extension of what was horrorcore rap. He was like horrorcore rap that you could actually relate to, as opposed to like some others that you were just like you got to really be into horror stuff to really roll with that. This was like real relatable. So I say that. And then 50 Cent, people from New York wasn't trying to sound like you wasn't from New York before that. Like, it was like you if you were from New York, you were a New York rapper, whether it was from, you know, the various boroughs, but you didn't explore with other sounds that made, you know, that were outside of the New York kind of flow, even if you were extending it, but you weren't comfortable with, you know, going beyond that. So those are the two that I have.
Nah, that's dope. I mean, the 50 joint. Oh yeah, definitely. I'll go last. Ski, why don't you go in then Veg, and then I'll finish.
Only as with DMX, Damien still makes me uncomfortable till today. And I know he's not a real character, but like when me and you was listening, like, not even the album, the freestyle stuff, the stuff, like, he was rapping, and then at the end he was like, "Oh,
I got next to him. Yeah.
I just woke up. I think I was dreaming." Like, what did you just said a bunch of wild stuff for 3 straight minutes. What is wrong with this? I was concerned about this fella. This
Earl Simmons.
Mr. Simmons. It was a problem, man. That was he was frightening. He was concerning to me. You know, it'd be something to be like, yo, he'd probably be cool to hang out with. No, sir.
No. I'm good.
Good to meet you.
Right. That's how I felt about Nas in the beginning. I was like, this nigga's a devil worshiper. He's snuffing Jesus. This nigga's waving automatic guns at nuns. Like, this nigga's going to hell, man. I'm not fucking with this nigga. Nasty Nas. This nigga's saying some wild shit. It literally took me years to say I went to hell for snuffing Jesus. Like, I would be like, when I was 12, and then I come back in, and I didn't even grow up in the church, but even I was like, nigga, you snuffed Jesus? Yo, this nigga's troubled right now. Vay, what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say with DMX, one of the things I think that also makes that album his debut, the Cornerstone, is the fact that I remember Jay-Z saying DMX brought hardcore hip hop back to the radio. So you didn't have to, like, it was kind of like the end of the shiny suit era with somebody like DMX, because here he is on his debut and his sophomore, which dropped the same year, going platinum, which meant that there was an appetite for hardcore hip hop on a pop level. So he got a lot of spins. I remember I was working at this sneaker store that lasted like summer around that time, called Sneaker Stadium. It's kind of like where the Barclay is, somewhere over there. And I worked there for a summer, and I remember this dude just kept telling me like, yo, it's DMX shit, blah blah blah. And I had kind of heard some stuff, but you know, I was on my snob shit. Like, I ain't listen to no nigga barking on no fucking records, nigga. How was that hot? Like, you ain't hear this pun shit? Like, you hear pun? But to Shah's point, man, it was like DMX was so passionate about it. I think more than a bald head and no shirt, I think that's what reminded people of Pac, because he was passionate about his lyrics. He wasn't afraid to be vulnerable. And I think he kind of brought all of that back. So all the superficial, I got more money than you shit almost sounds silly when this dude is saying, I only trust my dog, my literal dog, more than people. And I think it just showed that hip hop can be different things. Again, it reminded people that it could be different things again. So
yeah, nah. And I mean the 50 joint, I had that, and that was one of the ones I kind of wanted to ask the panel about, like, because I really don't know how much that shifted hip hop more than, say, I've heard people say his mixtapes shifted hip hop, because after his mixtapes, more people were making mixtapes. So, Sha, I'm with you. I think it's a cornerstone. I was just interested, like Vague, I know you was keeping your ear to the streets much more than I was at that time. Rel, I know you were, you know, by you being younger, that you were out during that time. Do y'all think it was it shifted the culture?
The album? Yeah.
50, okay. I mean, I do. So. I just was trying to figure out. I couldn't really pinpoint how, but because, you know, ever since I always talk about the split in hip hop, like that 98, that third Jay-Z album. And it was like, I felt like that's when hip hop got split. Yeah. Cause I remember Roots, my OG kid called Roots. He was like, yo, this Money Cash Hoes shit is the shit. And I'm like, me, Shy, and Beezer would be like, nah, man, them beats is whack. These keyboard beats. And it was the first time I had been on Morgan's campus. And it was like this split now. It was like, y'all like that shit, or like, it felt like you had to choose a side. Either you was with De La and J. Rule, like, fuck them get rich money niggas. And then the get rich money niggas was like, yo, fuck them broke niggas. And it was like the first time it was like this split in hip hop. So it was kind of just like, during that time, of course, me and Rel always talk about how we ain't messing with Pac, because we were so, like, we was rolling with Big. Like, anybody who had beef with Big, like, yo, stay over there. Like, I just heard Machiavelli probably about 10 years ago, because I was like, I don't want to hear nothing this nigga got to say. So I was on this side of it, so I didn't hear a lot of things. But just, Beck, talk a little bit about how you all feel like Get Rich or Die Trying shifted the culture.
Yeah, I think because around the time, I wasn't hosting Strictly Hip Hop, but I was helping to produce it with Ak and Scooby. And I remember, like, that shit was like a movement. The mixtape side, I wouldn't say so, because I think Dipset was right there with them at the same time with the mixtapes. Like, you know, you get a G-Unit mixtape, you get a Dipset mixtape, and both of them joints were kind of running. But I think 50 really shifted the culture, because he also, like DMX a couple years before him, kind of brought that hardcore hip-hop back to the mainstream. Plus, he was versatile with songs like In the Club. But also, to Shah's point, like, he's straight up New York dude from Queens who has a deal with Dr. Dre, who was using Southern slang in a lot of his raps. It was kind of like he was an anomaly. So he was able to connect with all these different audiences just because he was doing things in a way that could capture all of them. And I just remember the hype was crazy. Especially in NY, like, the hype was crazy. That DVD that came with the album, I remember they had one dude on there who was like, yo, this is like how I felt when Big was about to drop an album. Like, New York was so behind 50 in that movement that, you know, it was crazy. And I was in Baltimore at the time, and it was the same thing there. So I think in a lot of ways, it's one of those things where it brings back things that we remember from the culture, but just in a different way. And we're kind of happy to have it. Kind of like this Drake and Kendrick battle. It was like, yes, people care about bars finally. Like, you know, let's rate bars like we used to. So I think it kind of did a lot of that, like reminding people of what's dope about hip hop.
Did Get Rich or Die Trying, did that go diamond?
Yep.
I think it did 10 million. I will say that was the one album that I've never seen anything like this. I went to about 5 stores in one day and they were all sold out. Like that's something I had never seen before. I went to Best Buy, Circuit City, like I was just going up and down all through Laurel and all over the map and came home with nothing. Like I'm like, yo, it took me like 2 weeks to even get the album. Like it was like, God, I ain't never seen nothing like that. You know what I mean? So that definitely, but I had it on my list, but I just again wasn't really sure about it. But yeah, that makes perfect sense. Vague. And the last joint I got was The Chronic with Dre. You know what I mean? I think, and again, I can only speak for me because I didn't really start smoking weed till I got to Morgan. But I felt like The Chronic was just like everybody smoke weed now. Like if I didn't smoke weed, we have to smoke weed. It was like The Chronic and Redman, like those two. What the album and The Chronic was like. I know we don't see it now because now weed is legal, but I would love to see the statistics of how many people started smoking weed after those two albums. Like I know it had to be a crazy amount of people who I didn't even really know that many boys back in Philly who were smoking weed like that, like red eyes all the time. You know what I mean? Again, just the West Coast, like we guys are talking about Illmatic and Already Died I felt like The Chronic kind of was like, okay, we back on the West Coast now, finally kind of, it wasn't Snoop's debut album, but I felt like The Chronic was almost like the Purple Tape. I felt like it was Dre and Snoop, kind of like, the Purple Tape is Ray, but Ghost was right there with him the whole time, nothing but a G thing. I just remember because it's so funny because when Snoop was in Vegas, you talk about this on the show before, when Snoop was like at the Source Awards, like, New York don't got no love for Death Row. And it's like, yeah, nigga, the East Coast love you niggas. Fuck is you talking about? Like, you got we emulate y'all language. Niggas in Philly was sounding like Cube after Boys in the Hood, and forget about Minister Society with MC8 with Jid. And niggas was doing all that stuff, So what do you mean we ain't got no love for you? You know what I mean? So I think that was it. And then just the whole how does Dre bounce back from like leaving NWA? Like NWA is broken up. So kind of like what you said, Vague, with LL was like not really a comeback, but it's like, what is Dre gonna do? We hear Deep Cover, we hear Snoop, we're like, yo, this is dope. Then you see the video for Nothing But a G Thing, which to me is like, I won't say it's one of the most iconic videos, but that video played a lot. People loved it. So definitely, The Chronic. And I had a question, y'all. One of my R&B ones was BBD's Poison album. You know what I mean? But do y'all think that's a cultural cornerstone? Is it just really I believe it's a classic album, but I kind of was on the fence about, and in my eyes I was just like, okay, one, this is the first time in the history of music where like the Pips made a better album than Gladys Knight. You know what I mean? Nobody in the history of life thought Ronnie, Ricky, and Mike was gonna do shit. It literally was like, damn, man. Johnny, Bobby, and Ralph, we good. I don't know what you other three niggas gonna do with y'all lives, but I see you. I see you when we see you niggas, and it's like these niggas, man, fucked around and had one of the biggest albums out of all of them niggas. It's definitely better than Ralph and Johnny. You know what I mean? So it's kind of just like the mixture of hip hop and R&B. I remember the remixes for dope. And just every song that they just put out was like dope. I Thought It Was Me, Poison. I'm like, these niggas sampling G-Rap, like. Then they hit with you with the slow jams, with the When Will I See You Smile Again, and that video was crazy. But do y'all think it shifted anything, or is that just a really dope album?
I believe it. If it wasn't when it dropped, I believe the fact that you can go to. I've been to an Indian wedding, and they play Poison, or what have you. So if it didn't shift before, the fact that it crosses all kind of cultures and people at weddings, they play whatever the DJ gonna play, whatever they love. I'm sorry to move away from BBD, but they love DMX at weddings. Boom, there you go. Yeah. They love DMX at weddings, and the song the Y'all Gonna Make Me Lose My Mind. Yeah. It's a big hit at weddings. It's some of his most heinous lyrics.
Yeah.
But they don't listen to that part. They just Y'all Gonna Make Me Lose My Mind. And half the people don't understand English. They hopping around, they jumping around. So it just becomes this tidal wave, which I think is what BBD did. with Poison. Poison is gonna get played everywhere. Even though I love Dope, but Poison's a beast.
I think because of how much the impact that New Edition has on the culture, the fact that when they did split, that BBD was able to succeed adds to their longevity, right? If BBD fails, I'm not sure that their historical comeback and evolution
From the magic.
is, right? You know, so to your point of like the Pips making a better album, I think that it's kind of to your question, I think it's kind of both. I'm with you in that, like, I love them and I love it, and so I think that like it's a favorite, but I don't know that that's happened elsewhere. So like if it's a cultural cornerstone, is this something that's like been repeated, or is it that because it's never been repeated?
I mean, for me, I was thinking just from the standpoint of like, you know, before we had Mary, we had BBD. You know what I mean? And it was like, I know we like to give it to Mary, you know, but I mean, this album, in my opinion, was like when I first saw hip hop and R&B really mesh. Like, I mean, I'm looking through the book and it's like, look at how these niggas is dressing. Like, these dudes is dressing more hip hop than some hip hop niggas was dressing. Like, you know what I mean? So for me, it was like, oh shit, like there's a G rap, they sampled Poison for a song called Poison, and it was like hip hop. And I mean, like, I think it was the Dope video. And Biv had on the jumper outfit, and it had like the Shirt Kings type stuff on it. So it was kind of like, you know. And then I don't know if people ever saw this, but I think I forgot on what one of these like Tubi channels it is. Biv has a documentary out about his life, which is a real dope documentary. You know what I mean? Because we don't talk enough about Biv starting a record label before there was a Bad Boy and a So Def. We had Biv 10, who signed Boys II Men, who did all those things. And it kind of talks about all those things, because Jay shouted them out at a concert like, yo, before there was a Rockefeller, any of that shit, you know, Michael Bivins was kind of the blueprint for doing that shit. So I feel like Biv was always the hip hop type nigga, and it just so happened to be like, I'm gonna just get stuck in this band. What were you gonna say, Beck?
I was gonna say, yeah, I feel like BBD is a cornerstone, but they don't get enough credit for it. For a lot of the things you mentioned, for them to not be the greatest rappers, they were serviceable for the records they made. And then and then the mix of the two, of having a dude who could straight up sing, along with this hip hop vibe, like you said before, Mary. And one of the songs I've probably been listening to the most lately, because it bounces, is I Thought It Was Me. Like, I love that fucking record. Like, from a record you could dance to, the lyrics, the vibe. Like, it just felt like they don't get enough credit for doing things that others went on to get credit for. So I think it is a cornerstone.
I'm gonna say I know no other group had the success of a New Edition and then spawn Ralph, Johnny, and BBD, and then came back together and then did the documentary on BET. Man, that's an amazing piece of film, man. Just to watch, because we grew up with them, man, and to see them. And then, like you said, there is no Boys II Men who's like the top selling group, R&B of all time, male group, without New Edition, without BBD and Michael Bivins. So yeah, that is, if you look at it from that perspective, the things that they've done makes them groundbreaking.
Yeah. And I mean, Beg, like you said, they wasn't even the dopest MCs, but what was it like? Yo, what's up with that shorty you left the club with? She was sticking heaven to you than the meat on the meat of my sandwich. Like, what? Like, the sticking better than you than the bread on the meat of your sandwich? Really, nigga? Like, backstage under pressure.
We didn't expect anything from them. Like, we didn't, like, as far as lyrics, we didn't expect. So being serviceable, I think, was definitely going to be enough. But to your point, and I want to retract what I said earlier, because I didn't really give enough credit to the Michael Bivins aspect of it. Like, that's like the blueprint for, because that's like prior to you saying, I was like, oh yeah, wait, that's Jermaine Dupri. That's Diddy. That's that hip hop mogul in the group, but the hip hop mogul that's on the mic that you see, that wasn't really a thing like that before. So yeah,
the East Coast family.
Yeah, and like I
Yeah.
said, why if y'all, I'll find the name of the channel, but that Bib doc is a real dope doc. Because I mean, he could really hoop. Like I always knew Bib liked to hoop, but like he could have hooped, like went to college on a scholarship, D1 school type hoop. You know what I mean? And it was like, yo, Bob was his man. Like, yo, get in this group. So, and I mean, you can always tell Mike ain't never get no leads. You know, him and DeVoe, Ronnie ain't never sing nothing. You know, these dudes make it a little rap. Like, why you always want to cool on me? Like, you know, cool it now. Like, nigga, say this. But, you know, I think that kind of gave him the chance to kind of be like, you know, like you said, Sha, I think that's one of the dopest things is the element of surprise. When you don't have expectations. Like we've talked about that with many groups. Like with Meth, there was so much expectations on him to be the next one. You know, whereas we wasn't expecting nothing from Ghost and Ray. You know what I mean? So when we heard the Purple Tape, it was like, oh snap. Like I had no expectations for anybody out the Wu but Meth. You know what I mean? So anybody who came and did great, it was dope, but it's like, then I've seen people who had high expectations for albums that I love, and they're like, I really didn't like it. But then I'm like, well, shit, I didn't know what to expect. So maybe that's why I like it and why you don't like it, because you were expecting this. I was expecting nothing. So, you know what I mean? Bro, what you going to say?
Hey, Kill, thinking about Michael Bivins, if you ever think about it from this perspective, the greatest coaches were not the greatest players.
Right.
So I mean, Biv had a lot of time to think about what he needed to do or whatever to keep his longevity in the game and turn into the businessman. So I think that was another aspect. He know he wasn't no Ralph. He know he wasn't no Johnny. You know, or even Mike. I mean, Ricky. So yeah.
Right.
Man.
Yeah. So all right. So maybe it is that cultural cornerstone. I was just on the fence about that one, but you know what I mean. That's dope with that. Yo, tell me this real quick. What's everybody listening to? Shirai, what you been banging this week in the whip? Or I know you got the boys with you. So what you banging in your headphones?
So when on my way in and out of the office, I'm still on that Smith & Wesson Infinity, man.
Okay.
Smith & Wesson Infinity, it gives me because I was actually going to mention Black Moon's album, right? In terms of like giving it was like a rebirth of Brooklyn hip hop, right? And so the Infinity album, I'm loving it. I could just listen to that back to back. There's a few songs that I really like on there, but yeah, I was pleasantly surprised by the Smith & Wesson's latest album, Infinity.
That's dope. And come to think about it, bro, I would not be mad at this album at all, just for the simple fact, man, this thing just made dirty hip hop sound incredible, man. Yeah. You know what I mean? Birth in the boot camp click. I tell people when they talk about that lo-fi hip hop now, I'll be like, nigga, that ain't nothing but black vocal. That ain't nothing but the beat miners and D&D. You know what I mean? It ain't nothing new. It's kind of like how people were like getting pissed at neo soul. Like, nigga, that ain't nothing but soul music. You ain't got to put no neo in front of it. It's just soul music. You gonna say, Skip?
That album that you holding up there, a few years ago, I went to SOB's. They did like a 25th anniversary thing. I didn't even want to go because I was kind of acting funny after Sean Price passed. After Sean Price passed, I was like, he really the reason I've been going to boot camp events for the past couple of years anyway. He's really who I want to see. And I went there, and when Buck finished performing, I felt like I couldn't. But if I could, I would have went up there and just apologized to him for my thoughts on the way to the show, because he murdered that show. He was healthy. I had seen him perform drunk. I didn't really like that. He was healthy. He was up. 5 Foot had other lyrics that I had never heard. Like he did like a little remix for 5 Foot, and he sounded amazing. I was like, who that rapping? They was like, that's 5 Foot. I said, the dude that I ignored in the album? Like, wow, it was amazing. They did an amazing show. I felt like I should have paid them more money. Is how you know what I mean? Like,
yo, it's funny you talk about that, like with 5 Foot. That's how I felt about Jerobi on the last Tribe album. I'm like, yo, nigga, you don't sound half bad. Like, nigga, why you ain't rap all these years? You know, why it take us 20 years to hear Jerobi rap?
Be a chef.
You know. And now I always tell this joke. It's not a joke. It's the truth. Do y'all know Jerobi and Drez had an album out together?
Yes. It was called Native spelled backwards, Everton. Yeah. That's all I know about the album.
Yeah, there's nothing else to know about the album. Like, I don't know where y'all sitting around, eating beef patty and cocoa bread, and was like, fuck it, man, let's just do an album, man. Let's give them what they want. I know, nigga, nobody ever wanted the Jerobian Dress album. So, yeah, there's that. But okay, so you've been Smith and Wesson, Brooklyn Kill. What you been listening to?
Nothing really specific, just like whatever playlist kind of fits my mood. If I'm listening to like Blue Eyed Soul, Hall and Oates type shit, or maybe I just be on Tidal and whatever playlist I feel like fits my mood for the day. Nobody really particular right now is really moving me that much.
All right. No doubt. Vern, what you been listening to?
I'm more like what Kill said, but I would say that new EP by Alex Isley, K Nada, Jack Dine. Yeah, bro. It's chef's kiss, man. Yeah.
All right. Dope. Ski, what you banging?
Wait a minute. Who's that again? I'm
my
taking
bad.
notes.
Alex Isley. That's Ernie Isley from the Isley brothers' daughter. She's a killer.
She's a beast.
Yeah.
Like that. Yeah.
Thank you.
I've also had Smith and Wesson Infinity on repeat. It feels like it almost hurts my heart a little bit because it feels like if Boot Camp would have had money back then. It feels mature and not mature like where they sound old. It feels mature like, oh, y'all really, what it feels like? It feels like the Nas is like, what was that album where Nas was on the cover with the wedding dress that Khalees left behind?
Oh, Life is Good.
Life is good. That album, I was like, this is real grown up hip hop. Like he was talking about 401ks and 5.9 accounts. I was like, this is grown. Like, so it's very interesting, that album. Every time I listen to it, I find new stuff about it I like. And I'm also listening to the most recent album by the artist Friday with 2 Y's. It's a cool cat. It's probably his 3rd album. He's fire. He's the one who did the chorus for the song where Hove had the long, like it's Hove and Rick Ross and somebody else, and they did it on some.
God did.
He did the chorus for God Did. Whatever.
Okay.
He's a dope
whole album.
He got 3 different albums. It's on his 3rd one.
Okay.
The 3rd one is a double album. He's up to the double album part. That's how well he's done.
Okay, I gotta check him out.
Friday with 2 Y's.
All right, Veg, what you banging?
Still on my R&B kick. Kevin Ross, Love Up Tempo, Volume 1. It's an EP. It's short, but just keep rewinding that joint. I think it's like perfect with the weather switching now to a warmer setting. So it kind of gives you.
Oh yeah. I started fucking with this last week when you said this joint.
Yeah, it's dope. I keep it on repeat. And then I kind of went back to one of the albums, the hip hop albums I've been listening to this year for a while. Westside Gun 12 album is definitely one of the better Westside Gun albums in a while. A lot of Stove God on there. SD Knack has some dope parts, except for one part where he kind of like moaning like a zombie and shit. I was like, what the fuck? Maybe that's some hood shit, some call. I don't know. I ain't in the hood no more. Okay, like I'm in the suburbs. Like, what are you saying, nigga? Like, what is that? But you I felt uncomfortable pulling up to the Starbucks. Like, this nigga, he's just like, calm down. Like, I ain't tripping. I just came to get my latte. That's all. Like,
Right.
But I think it's dope. It's definitely one of his better recent albums, for sure.
All right, Rob, what you banging?
Like Vern said, the Alex Isley EP that came out, listening to that, and I don't know how I went back and started listening to Book of Ryan from Royce.
Man, that's a crazy album, man.
Yeah,
One of my favorites.
That's my ride to work every day has been Book of Ryan.
I gotta listen to that joint, man. I ain't listened to it in a while, but
crazy
Five mic album. I always talk about the Book of Ryan because the Book of Ryan, Fonte's No News is Good News came out, and Black Thought's first EP with, I think it was with Ninth Wonder, came out, and that's when I realized that Black Thought don't rap about shit. Because I'm listening to Book of Ryan and this dude is like telling you about his life growing up and his dad be addicted to cocaine, and he's still barring you at that time. Like, he still, it's not like these songs are boring. Like, he's still putting in bar work. And Fonte's No News Is Good News, and he's like talking about what is it, burn expensive jeans and black men and their health and getting divorced and getting remarried and burying his pop and then going to the repast and eating the same shit that just killed them. And it's all these intricate lyrics, but he still, what's the first joint, like, nigga, I will murder you MCs. I forgot what the first song is.
God, I'll murder you niggas.
Yeah, I will murder you niggas. So it was like these two albums, like Black Thought's contemporaries are making these kind of albums. And I put on his album, and it just sounded like he went straight from Hot 97 into the booth. You know what I mean? He just still rhyming 50 miles a minute. I'm like, damn, nigga, you was doing this when I'm in college, and now I'm 45. Like, nigga, I needed more at that time. So that's when it kind of hit me. But that Book of Ryan, yo, that's a crazy joint right there. I've been on this chick, Georgia Smith. Like, I don't even know, it's R&B, but it's kind of like, I kind of just fell into her music when I was in Miami, and I haven't stopped listening to his album. And this new joint by Wale, this Blanco joint, his new single. Like, I really rock with that joint. And I ain't even a big Wale fan like that. I like his joints where it's like, to me, Wale makes great girl songs. You know what I mean? So the Matrimony with Usher, the Bad, like all those joints, he makes good. And this is about liquor, but it falls in that line of it being kind of like a girl song. So definitely that joint. And what else was it? Coco Jones, man, I'm loving this shorty right here. Like, she's got the joint with the with the same sample that they use for Kanye's Twista's Overnight, Make You a Celebrity Overnight. So that joint is really dope. Child, where can they get at you, bro? They trying to get with you. Where you at, bro?
They're gonna find me on a basketball court or a soccer field.
I was just about to say, you somewhere at a basketball game. I got you, bro. I got you. Brooklyn Kill, where can they find you, bro?
On IG, Kilkenny718. I may or may not accept your friend request though, so you know, because I don't know. But that's where I'm at, and you know, still having fun on that whenever. And then real quick, I just want to give a quick shout out because we've been talking all about this marriage between hip hop and R&B and whatnot. And Rel mentioned him earlier when he mentioned the Ron G tape. Shout out to Ron G and Miss Jones, who used to do that, who was doing all that before Mary, singing over all of those beats and whatnot on those mixtapes before Mary was doing that. But yeah. That shit.
No, that's a huge shout out, bro. I remember coming to Morgan in '92. And was it nigga Dre? Was it Dre from Jersey who had the red Benz back then? It was a boy on campus who had a red Benz, like system and everything.
That was Mike. Okay. I just remember him pulling up one day, blasting somebody singing. It was Stephanie Mills, Something in the Way You Make Me Feel Over, Impeach the President.
Yes.
And bro, I lost my mind. Like, this is like September 1st. It's like my first day on campus. And I'm like, yo, what the fuck? I ain't never heard Stephanie Mills singing over. My man was like, nah, that's Ron G. And bro, from that day forward, I was just, any mixtape anybody could get, it was like, I need to hear that, because I was so, my brain just couldn't. Then I went back to Philly. I was like, yo, these niggas Ron G in New York and Harlem, they doing this. Showed it to my man, Cool DJ Frank, and then it just took from there, man. And shout out to Chaos from Morgan, too. He had some dope mixtapes back in the day, too, doing that. Like, I'll never forget, he had I'll Be Sure, Ooh, This Love Is So, over the Large Professor remix for Nas, It Ain't Hard to Tell, which was crazy back in those days. So definitely shout out to Chaos with that. Burn, where can they get at you, good brother? And talk about the where they could get with you to get mortgages, everything, all the states you're licensed in, all the dope stuff you're doing, bro.
Be the Loan Close on Instagram. Get at me, North and South Carolina, Georgia, and Alabama. I got you.
All right, no doubt. Ski, where you at, bro?
I'm no place, but I could be found on Skiborn on IG. Skiborn, SKIBORN.
And I'm dark skin.
I might be where you at, but you're not gonna see me. I'm gonna be in the cut, so just hit me in the DM. I hit you back. And I'm more fun than I look. If I do talk to you, I'm more fun than I look.
When's the next get together? When's the next party you throwing?
It was supposed to be tomorrow evening. That never materialized. Kind of thing down for good old Morgan Day. We were supposed to do a little happy hour. That never came together. And I'm not sure how that's coming together for the weekend because it looked like they might get rained out for the weekend events. But out there, it'll be on IG if something comes up. It'll be before homecoming though. Something small.
All right, no doubt. Veg, where can I get at you, bro?
All right, you can follow me on all social media platforms at Vegas World INC. You can check out my podcast right here on YouTube. Also available in audio form, but here on YouTube at Hip Hop Now Podcast. It's a weekly news and hip hop perspectives podcast. We just did a live stream talking about the movie Sinners and the musical themes within that. You know, no spoilers on the podcast, but I won't give any spoilers here. But just those connections with music and obviously with hip hop also. And if you want to hear some boom bap, you know, me and Kill got like 7 joints on Bandcamp, biggestworldinc.bandcamp.com. Also available on Apple Music, Spotify, Tidal, all that good stuff. The latest project is called Bed-Stuy Vintage. There's also an EP with a couple joints that didn't make the album called Bed-Stuy Vintage BTS. So check those out. Shout out to Rel, who's on the album. Shout out to my man Woods, who's also on the album, and Numbs, who's on the EP. So
no doubt. All right. And when Vegas says 7 joints, we talking 7 albums. Man, this man been making music since what, 2010? So
yeah, 7 songs.
Yeah. That's why I said let me clear that up. We ain't talking about 7 songs. We talking about 7 albums. We've been making music together for the last 15 years. So, like you said, VegasWorldInc.bandcamp.com. If you want to support, definitely do that. Rel, what's good? Where can I get at you, bro?
Uptown Rel 215 on Instagram. JBen215 on Twitter. Me and Kill also got a joint album called It's Not You, It's Me. It's on my Bandcamp, Jarrell215.bandcamp.com. My man Vegas is on that as well. And and me and Vegas EP coming soon.
All right.
Kill don't know yet. Kill don't know he making all the fucking beats yet, but we don't know.
I ain't get the memo. I didn't even get the fucking memo, but it's all good. Y'all know it's all good. Kill889 Twitter, IG. Check out me and Rel's Cheesesteak Show with my man Gadget, Philadelphia Steak Life. Shy, I have to apologize to you on air. I owe you and Monica a cheesesteak because you guys went to Angelo's and you did not enjoy the cheesesteaks. Well, you got chicken though.
No. She got the chicken. I got the other joint, but it's all right. Have you been to the cheesesteak spot up here in Laurel?
No, we don't know about
Cheesesteak and Co. It's
that's Riverdale. In Riverdale. We was just talking about it. I would say that's the closest I've had to a Philly joint that's out this way. Me and Rel was just talking about the next show. We probably gonna do a Baltimore run because I've got a couple of Baltimore niggas trying to talk shit like y'all, our cheesesteaks are better than y'all's. And I'm like, look, nigga, don't do that. Like, we don't come down here talking about no fucking crabs in fucking Philly. Like, you do your thing. And to be honest with you, bro, what's happening, I'm really pissed about this.
We do our thing.
What happened? Like, don't do that. But here's the problem, and this is where Philly went wrong. Even with our barroom, we let niggas come in and videotape and YouTube, and we showed niggas what we do. Now the whole world is doing that shit. Like, you don't see that shit at KFC. I can't go on YouTube and find out how the fuck the Colonel makes his chicken. I can't go and see what Chick-fil-A do secretly. But it's like, oh yeah, y'all want to come on in? Come on, let me show you how I get my Cooper Sharp. So now everybody is literally just emulating, you know, what we do. Rel, what's the white boy who's an Eagles fan who got a pop-up shop in Brooklyn now or in New York?
Oh gosh,
the big Eagles fan boy. I forgot his name.
Yeah. He was doing the cheesesteaks in
Yeah, he was doing a pop-up shop. This is how crazy it is. So niggas from New York was calling me like, yeah, Kill, we got the cheesesteak game on lock now, man. Look at this. God, I forgot his name. But he was like, here's a pop-up job. And I literally looked at it and I said, that ain't nothing but an Angelo's steak. And come to find out, he brought people up from Angelo's to open this spot in Brooklyn. So it's like, I mean, and it's in the Village, but I'm just like, that's what I mean. Like, you know, niggas is just biting people's style and everything like that. But I still owe you a cheesesteak.
The Barberin is bad. The Barberin,
the Barberin is bad. It took a whole nother level.
That because people that like chalk line that everybody doing,
that was all Philly.
That was a natural ash line that they would do in Philly. It was not a pencil that they were doing. Right. All that came from Philly, and now niggas is going out with the chalk line out in public with the. Never mind, but you get what I'm saying. Like,
yeah, y'all understand. So Shy, I owe you a steak. Let me know when. I'll give one of mine too. I never do chicken. So whenever I'm giving a review for people watching, me and Rel are always just talking about steak. Those are two totally different things. I tell this about niggas too. There's niggas who can cut hair in Philly. Don't mean that they can shape up your beard. Those are two totally different things. A steak and a chicken steak. You want a good chicken steak, that is Skibibbles. That's why I will co-sign Skibibbles. Skibibbles got a good chicken cheesesteak. Not a good steak. So Shy, I owe y'all some steaks for that. I'm a man of my word. I can't send nobody somewhere and then they don't enjoy them. I give you a money back guarantee on my word. That's how important I am about cheesesteaks and put my name on things, you know. But yeah, Kill Twitter, IG, quick thing. Y'all know I'm a bookworm. A History of Basketball in 15 Sneakers, right here by Russ Benston. If you're a sneakerhead, this is it. It's a whole history of basketball with just 15 core sneakers. So definitely check this out. And I will check y'all next week, good peoples.
All right.